Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 298 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it's me, Karak.
You tricked me for a second.
You almost got it?
I wanted to see if I could get Matty to go, it's Matt again.
I was literally going for the restart key. I was like, all right, it's over.
Anyway, sorry.
We got a new host. Here he is.
That's right. No longer homeless looking. It's your boy, Dustin.
Hoboless host.
Hoboless host, Dustin from Last Stand Media and Handsome Phantom. Hello.
Dude, I keep in the middle of the intro, I actually looked up at the corner of the screen you're in. I was like, look at Dustin. This guy's looking sharp. I didn't realize you had so much of a neck, your
that's
hair
right.
was longer. Yeah, I didn't know.
And I
Dustin.
trimmed the beard down, dude.
Yeah, you trimmed the beard. There's no beanie or hat.
No.
This is clean, Dustin. This is I'm going to take her out for a nice dinner, Dustin.
Maddie, I would fucking love for you to take me to a nice dinner.
All right.
And that actually reminds me of something that I needed to address on the show is that a week or two ago, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I called Karak cute on Twitter, and he did not respond.
Oh.
So I just wanted to air that out.
You called me cute on Twitter, and I didn't respond, or people responded poorly?
Wait, no. You said something like, wasn't cute, will delete later. Do you remember this tweet?
Oh, I do remember the tweet, yeah.
And then I responded, and I said, you're always cute, Karak.
Welcome to me dissing on the chicks. Always negging, always pretending like I'm too high to respond to anybody.
Yeah,
I honestly didn't get.
You play hard.
Honestly,
I play hard.
I was gonna say maybe I want you more, Karak. I mean,
Nope.
I don't know. I don't know. What to say.
I do have that a tendency to. I was telling Matty, I have that tendency to blurb out shit, and then I never look back at responses because some are negative, obviously, and sometimes in a certain mood, I'll be like I did one about Days Gone, which we'll probably talk about first, but I did one about Days Gone, and I haven't looked at responses because I'm like, fuck you. I know what they're going to be. But no, I didn't see that one, but I appreciate it. Cute is something welcome. That I don't think since I was 3 prior to the beard.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I've ever heard the word cute. That's for sure. So there we go. Cherubish little Karak. I need to find a picture of me as a child.
I don't know if I could imagine without a beard. If we really wanted to shock people, I'd show up bald because my hair is pretty long. Karak would show up without a beard. And Dustin would show up as is. And that's no offense to Dustin, but just very clean cut.
That's right.
Sharp as a tack.
Here's the thing, Matty. Before 2020, really, I had a regular schedule of when I would get haircuts in relation to travel. Because I would basically be like, I'm going to PAX, or
I don't want to look like a shithole when you go to PAX, right?
Yeah.
No, I know
so, or, PAX, E3, and then usually one in the middle, but with, COVID and people, it's I just don't care as much, but eventually it gets to a point where Holly, she's an angel. She's a sweetheart, but there's a limit where she'll say, she's like, I think you look good a little cleaned up.
My wife will look.
I get what you're fucking trying to say. What was that?
My wife will look in a weird way, and I can tell. So about every 6 months, I'll shave. Not my back, probably should, but I'll shave, and you give hair to cancer or whatever. So for a while, I didn't. While. Yeah, and I don't give that to cancer. I'm saying, so for a long time, I didn't, and then about 3 months ago, I was just walking around. My wife was like, that's it. She
shook her head.
Yeah. And I realized not only was my hair explosive, but my beard had done this old man, almost Santa Claus thing where the side gets out. I don't know how to describe it, but only old people let that shit.
One of those Oriental kind of fans, they just kind of.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was bad. It was bad. And I looked, and she did. She's just like. And I was like, what? And I looked, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Where? But COVID or being home, right, without a schedule, it's much easier to let things slide.
Dude, did everyone not see me at the beginning of this pandemic when I was coming in with hairbands with dogs on them? I had hairbands with the Mets logo on them. I was coming in looking like a moron. It's funny, Dustin bringing up E3.
Looking like a moron.
E3, Dustin bringing it up reminds me of a time where whenever I go to E3, I wear decent dress clothes. I'll wear dress pants, I'll wear a button-up shirt because I just want presentation matters. So I remember one time my friends and I were trying to find the entrance because at E3 2018, they completely moved around how getting into the building worked. It was, do you remember that, Dustin? Like, it was so weird that getting in, even as media, was really difficult because that was like one of the first years they were doing general attendance. And so I remember like we were walking through the crowd, and this is why LA fucking sucks, all right? Because I'm walking through the crowd and I'm hearing, dude, it's like, you know how in Persona 5 you're walking through the hallway and you see the speech bubbles popping up of people talking about Joker being a criminal?
Yeah.
I'm walking through this crowd, I'm hearing, what the fuck's he wearing? Why is he in dress clothes? Dude, it's a gaming convention. Like, what a fucking idiot. I'm like, dude, is this for real right now? I couldn't believe it. But yeah, me and my buddies were getting smack talked the whole way through the crowd just for dressing up.
Wow.
And like, it was not overzealous. It was.
I'm going to tell you right now, you won that regardless.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I'd show up at the booth and be like, you look great.
Dude.
It's like, that's what you want.
Exactly. And I can't tell you how many times it doesn't matter. You can dress up, but if you dress down too low, you're in deep shit.
Dude, like,
so it's just is that way. If you're just in slacks or not dress pants, nobody's going to be like, oh my God, we can't give him our game.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I know if I were to show up to a Ubisoft booth, it's not like if I was in like an Adidas sweatshirt and fucking like baggy basketball shorts, they'd be like, no, you're not playing our game.
You guys went and saw Watch Dogs, right, Matty? Didn't you guys go? Did you guys go to the events to see Watch Dogs?
So yeah, not me. Was 2018 the one where I played? Oh my God! Wow, it feels such like a long time ago. I'm trying to remember what we played.
I just
got to
Assassin's Creed
Odyssey. That's what
the differences in the way they dress. So I had been going to the American ones, and this is no diss. This is no diss. It's just they were dressed down. And I went to the Ubisoft one, and it was a smoke show. Every guy was dressed so nice. This is Ubisoft Watch Dogs. Cadiz and I went. Every girl, like, dressed like business. They all looked so good. Everybody was all immaculate. Yeah. And it was such a difference. The only other place I've seen that was, strangely enough, when I went to PAX West or Battle. There were a couple groups in PAX, if they weren't at the PAX area, that were always dressed nice, I noticed. Mm-hmm. But if they're at the PAX, they're in their, I'm going to get sweaty.
Dude, clothes. I love showing up to a nice game demo booth and they're in jeans, a t-shirt. You're like, you're one of us. Let's go. Like, you don't got to get crazy dressed up. We're playing games. We're talking games here. I'm
going to get my Rolex and show up and be like, shake it in front of them. You're like, well, by the way, I don't have a Rolex. I'm just saying. But that would be funny. Be like, let me check what time it is. Yes, I've got time to check your game.
Dude, it always frustrated me because I've been to the Game Awards either 2 or 3 times. And dude, when the Handsome Phantom boys go to the Game Awards, we wear a suit and a tie.
Oh yeah, you got to.
And it's not like Oscar level. It's not like a tuxedo, but we are, we go all out because this is, yeah. And there are some, it's open to the public, and I just feel like, don't wear your Overwatch shirt to the Game Awards. There's nothing wrong with Overwatch or wearing gamer clothes. I'm wearing this Pac-Man shirt right now. I wear clothes that have game stuff on all the time. Don't wear it to the Game Awards.
Yeah. E3 is the only place I dress up decently. When it comes to PAX, I'll wear like a nice pair of pants. That might be it though. A nice pair of pants with a plain t-shirt. I call them my normal people clothes, and that shows how I typically dress. Right? Like I will throw, if I'm wearing like a black t-shirt, some nice jeans, those are what I call normal people clothes, because typically I am not dressed like that. I'm usually wearing trainers or dry fits, or
you usually look like a European assassin or GTA.
Dude, right? Maddie, the European assassin.
What's the one? Owen Wilson, the one with the fucked up nose and the blonde hair. He did the movie where he was behind enemy lines, I think is what it was called.
I love that movie. That's a great one.
Yeah, and he's chased by the European assassin, the European sniper guy, and he shows up in a trainer. And I remember watching this the first time going, yeah. And I was like, why is this guy scary? And then he's and then I found out that is not a joke. Like, those guys, they're wearing comfortable stuff. They're not like, obviously they wouldn't be like Agent 47, but they wouldn't wear Levi's because those are really hard. Have you ever tried to run in a pair of Levi's? Right?
Yes.
It's like if you wore a body rubber and tried to fuck, it's useless. Like, you can't do it. So yeah, and he wore a trainer, and I remember watching it going, this guy's not scary, and then he was. So that's what you're doing. You're just walking around in European assassin clothes. Yeah. And whenever I see you, that's what I think.
One other thing, guys, before we get out of the intro, I want to show you. I got an upgrade. It's very exciting. Watch this. Watch this.
Intro, bro.
Oh,
he's got a fridge.
Oh, I know what's coming. There it is.
Mini fridge upgrade to the studio, boys.
Is that a beer?
Cool.
No, this is a balls.
Balls?
You ever heard of balls?
Wait, what?
I've heard of balls, yeah.
No, I haven't. What is that?
So balls is an energy. It's like an energy soda. It's more pop soda or whatever than it is like.
Is their slogan "balls to the walls"? Like, am I ahead of the game here?
I don't know if they have a slogan. I had found out about them when I went to an anime convention when I was a young lad. So they're not a new brand, but they actually, I mean, full disclosure, they sponsored the HP podcast for a little bit. So like they sent us a bunch of product, which was awesome because I already loved the brand. And this is not a sponsored, moment right now. This isn't me like, oh, and by the way, guys, check out Balls Guarana. But no, I had a few left.
Use my affiliate code.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But no, the mini fridge, free upgrade. My dad's old boss was getting rid of it. And I was like,
what would your personal code be? Like instead of Dustin Furman, like Dustin Furballs? Like,
oh, Furballs, dude. Damn, that might be something.
I thought I'd get a laugh out of Karak. He was just
Karak's non-impressed.
He's like, you're fucking fine.
I'm not impressed by that stuff. Remember, like whenever we do the Defining Duke and you got one of the jackasses who try to like get away with a weird naming convention.
Oh, the titty gobbler.
Quick. Yeah. Yes, that's who I'm talking of. I just didn't want to say it out loud. I didn't want to give him any credit. And Matty reads it every time, and I'm just, you can see me over there just like, oh.
Dude, here's the thing though, is that Matty, I mean, he reads the titty gobbler name, but Matty just accepts it and moves on. If he acts mad, then the entire community would double down. But Matty's just like, yeah, whatever. Sure. And so they're like, oh.
At times I hate, because what happens is he'll like, and other people will have a great question behind that name. And I'm like,
oh, for sure. No, they're good questions. They're just screwing with you.
But that's what sucks is you're like, I don't really want to read this on. Oh, but that's a good question that definitely we want to
That's why you say something like, my balls is missing, is asking us what we think.
Yeah, we'll start renaming the patrons.
With them each time. Be like, my mother's egg really didn't have any standards, has asked us the question.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Just neuter them, man, to the point where somebody's like, I'm not writing in any questions. I'm uncomfortable now.
That's Nicky V. Nicky V. He's the one that coined the Dickalicious Dustin, which I mean, Jesus. I always forget. It's funny because he's like, Dustin, I call you Dickalicious Dustin every time, and you always act surprised. I'm like, it's a fucking surprising name to hear.
Like someone, like you walk around in your house with your wife.
Not like you normally hear it.
No one's calling you that all the time, man. Like,
right.
All right, welcome to the H.A.M Radio Podcast. For those of you who are new here,
here we
usually we talk about video games, but today we felt like talking about balls, energy drinks, and PAX dress-ups. So if you want to support the show, you can head over to the Patreon in the link in the description down below. We've updated some of our links. So instead of the Google Podcast, we have Spotify there, where I've seen a lot more of you listen. So we have that a little more readily available. Patreon's down there, and Dustin's stream. His link to his Twitch page is now down there. So if you would like to support Dustin, his streams, which are growing, please do give that a look. Give him a follow. Check him out whenever he's live. You have a schedule. But for the show itself, if you want early access, bonus videos from myself, and a monthly Q&A, and we're going to be adding more over time. I'm looking into some stuff. Obviously, no timetable on that, but right now that is the set schedule. You can support us for just $1 or however much you want to choose to support, and you can get early access to this show. With that, though, let's talk about what we're playing, gentlemen. As per the ritual at the beginning of our show, who would like to go first? Who would like to talk about a little video games?
I'm streaming. I'm not really playing any one thing. I'm streaming. I hacked the Xbox Cloud thing I told Matty about, so you can stream to your PC, the xCloud. So I've been messing with that, but all my stuff's been streaming. Just checking that out and streaming using I mess it up. Moonshine, Moonbeam, whatever. The alternate of GeForce, the one I always talk about. I'm using that, and I've just been enjoying playing games like in bed that are on the PC. It's very cool to be playing the full power game. I love Switch. Don't get me wrong, but playing like modded Skyrim on your tablet is that's
dope.
another level. Yeah. And so I showed people a video of Outriders. I was playing Outriders, and I had the tablet here in front of me, and I took a video. I put the tablet and then the monitor. Dude, it's like 1 millisecond difference. That's it. It's ridiculous. And I played Outriders for 6 hours on tablet. Like, we're at an amazing fucking time for games and technology. Yeah. We are like this close, man, to just being so cool. What were you going to say, Matty? Sorry.
I was going to say, I can't blame you, because I've been marathoning Outriders quite a bit.
Well, I didn't say I liked it.
Oh, you loved it. That's why.
We'll talk about that later. And I played some Outriders. We'll move on. Go ahead, Dustin.
Let's see. So on my stream right now, we're playing Breath of the Wild, but we're playing a special version. It's the Wii U Pro version, which runs at 4K 60 FPS. It's a very, very custom setup to run it at 4K 60. On the Wii, the Wii U Pro, that's how it's done.
Oh.
Yeah. So no, but it's been cool to go back to that. I've only done one stream so far, so we just did like the Great Plateau area, but no, it just feels like an entirely different game when it's running, at a high resolution and a high frame rate. So I'm excited to get back into that. And I've been playing a little bit of Outriders, not as much as I would have liked. Which I think, Maddie, we have to disclose that our codes were provided to us by Square Enix.
Oh, yeah, so do I. Yeah, Square.
Thank you, Square Enix, for providing the Ham Radio team.
Man, they are so hard on that too, aren't they?
Yeah. No, well, that's the thing, is that like Maddie, you and I were like bouncing back and forth. I'm like, okay, am I just double check this? Are we good here? Are we in the clear? So, and I think you got to put it in the description of the video too. So, but yeah, so we, Maddie and I attempted to play together, and which I think this is what Karak was talking about, is that the crossplay multiplayer on the day before launch between PC and consoles just did not work at all.
It still really doesn't.
It still doesn't.
No, it's still been pretty busted.
I mean, here's the thing. They do say that it's beta, but I'm like, also like,
the game's out. Come on.
The game's out. Yeah.
I'm not paying $60 for a beta ever. So fuck you. It's out.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
They're asking for money. So it's not a beta.
Yeah. So, but what I have played, I've found to be pretty enjoyable. But the problem is that every time I've played, it's been by myself. So I need to find some friends on PC that I can play with, since the crossplay is busted. But
forked.
Other than that, I mean, here's the thing. And Karak, I messaged you about this. The PC version.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard bad things. I'm playing on Series X. I've heard bad things about PC.
I shit you not. Every time, and this was part of our stream, Maddie, I load in the game, I load into the actual level, and there's no HUD. Literally every time now this happens, I have to jump back to the menu and then load back into the game every time in order to get the HUD. I'm like,
oh, weird.
So there's that, and then I'm running the DirectX 11 version, so it doesn't hitch and stutter all over the place. Which with that, you can't use. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Karak, but you can't use DLSS. It's in the menu, but it doesn't do anything. Yeah, so my performance is down, which sucks. So just overall, it's like I want to play it and give it its fair shake, because there are elements of it that I was enjoying, but it does not want to let me play it really to what it should be on the PC.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think they're patching things like inventory wipes, bugs, and crashes, but I don't think there's been word on the HUD yet. I like when that is coming for Outriders. They also, I'm loving this game. I'll just preface that right up front. I am having a good experience, but I'm also playing on consoles. So I think it's just kind of one of those situations where, like you see everyone else having wildly different experiences, and you just kind of understand like, hey, I'm on Xbox Series X, and like things just seem to be working well over here. And so I'm just having one of those scenarios where I think I'm a little more positive, because I've just had like the what I'd say is probably the best platform for it to be played on, and it's kind of been scratching an itch. But the patch also is going to be nerfing things, and a lot of people were like, "This is dumb," because it's like a lazy nerf. There was something that was a little more OP, so instead of reworking that, they literally brought everything else down in tune with it, or vice versa. Like they brought everything down because something was too weak, and it was like just a really lazy kind of nerf that hurt all builds: Trickster, Technomancer, Devastator. But they're giving everyone like free stuff because of everything that's happening. So I'm not a fan of this first patch, and it's weird because everything seemed to be in sync. But as for Outriders itself, I got 32 hours in it now, and I really like the game. Like, I think it's really fun. I just really what it is. My friend had me elevator pitch it to him, and I said, it's just a game that really rides on everything being good in its gameplay. So I found the loot enjoyable because the effects are felt throughout all different levels, especially when you get to the tier 2 mods that start to do things. Like I have a mod called Claymore, and then I had one called Chained, Bound by Chains or something like that. So for every shot I take, you'd see a Claymore come out of the sky, hit him for like 3k damage, and then a chain would go across 4 different enemies for 4,000 damage, plus the weapon damage, plus my abilities. So the loot is really responsive in a way that I don't remember the last time I felt it outside of Legendaries and Borderlands. But the difference here is that you can feel that impact earlier in those tiers, like the blue tier weapons, when you start to get actual mods. And when you combine that with just good enemy variety and just really kinetic gameplay where you're running all over the place, there's explosions, there's good abilities, at least as a Devastator, I'm liking it. I've been having a really fun time. The B tier story, some people really liked it. I was reading the comments on my review. Some people said it's actually legitimately good in their opinion. I think it's because the bar is so low. I see a lot of people saying at least for this game, like at least it has a story, unlike Destiny. I'm like, that's when you know there's a problem, right? So in my opinion, I don't think the story's good, but it's enjoyable because it's so corny. I have to say though, I think it's pretty consistently fun. I thought it'd wear off, but I started a new character, a Technomancer, because my friend picked it up. Now we're playing together in a separate co-op playthrough. I've done most of this solo though. I feel like that's where the game's at its best. I don't know if y'all agree, but I think the game's most fun solo. That's where the damage balancing was most solid, and it didn't feel as spongy, and you just had control of everything, and the levels felt more open and free. So I've been digging the hell out of it. Kind of that I thought Hitman 3 was it, and it still kind of is it, but this is more and more, I think, unexpectedly, and we'll see if it sticks, which I think it will, kind of becoming this home-based game where I'm playing other things, but I am coming back to Outriders. We don't know what's going to happen with the expansions though, and if these nerfs continue, that will hurt the game for sure. But I'm loving what I'm playing so far. Gotta be real.
Damn.
I know. I've been trying to get everyone on it. Like my buddies are like, we're okay. I'm just like, come on.
So Maddie, I downloaded it on my Series X and I started it up.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, do I just play on my Series X and forget about the PC version at this point and just say like, screw you, I'm not waiting? Which here's the thing.
You get to anyway.
Well, I don't know. I'm not that far really at all.
Okay.
But the problem is here's the thing. I actually forgot about this. I started playing on Xbox and I was like, no, I do not want to play this with a controller, which that's just me. That's a Dustin preference PC thing. When I really started to play Call of Duty on PC, when I went through a big Warzone phase, it changed my brain, and now it's like which it's not. I know it's third person shooter, but like shooter games now, I feel like I need the precision. I don't know. It's something has changed in my mind.
You're MLG, bro.
Dude, I'm an MLG pro, obviously now. No, but which maybe, I mean, is this a game that offers mouse and keyboard support on Series X? I mean, it'd be a huge hassle, but it could be possible. But it would all be not a problem if there was cross save. But I guess I get there being no cross save on this title in particular. But But yeah, I don't know. We shall see. I'm hopefully they can turn around with some of those PC updates soon.
Yeah, and there's some things in games certainly, like, you know, as I keep putting hours in it, and when I started up my old character, I kind of wish there was more account-wide things. So you spend a whole playthrough looting weapons and then dismantling them so you can take their mods and put them into other weapons. And I would love it if that was account-wide. So whatever mods I unlock are across all of my builds. I know that may destabilize the balance, but if they're saying it's not a service game and it's a co-op game, then I don't fucking care how broken I am. That's the fun of the game.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Their messaging is becoming conflicting, where it's not a service game. It's like, okay, I believed you. But when you start to nerf stuff, I mean, and like substantial nerfs, it's like, for who?
There's no PvP.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. I haven't gotten to the end game content, so I don't know how that shakes out and if maybe that's where it can be most applicable. But right now, I mean, I'm really digging the game, but I just worry with the way they're kind of running with it, where they were very communicative and they were trying very hard. You saw them work through a holiday weekend, getting the servers right, and I think they have improved. I haven't gotten booted since. But, you know, they have yet to really justify why it's got to be online only, why it needs to be in this framework, and why they're doing nerfs. The community speaking loud and clear, they don't like the nerfs, so I'm hoping they'll roll those back, but time will tell. Because what's interesting is that's not even in a patch. They're doing that with a hot fix. Like, they're just kind of sliding that in underneath the main patch. So
right, dude, that's the thing about the online only is so weird, and it's not the only game this year that has unnecessary online DRM with Hitman.
Yeah, two games I really like. What the fuck's going on?
Dude, there's
Ratchet
and Clank?
The one that just released on PC had online. You had to actually be online, and they cracked it in like 1 hour. And people were pissed.
You mean
it might be the other
Crash.
one, but there you go.
Yeah, Crash. Yeah. I remember reading that, and yeah, someone cracked it like super.
Yeah, they cracked it like
fast.
right away. So
yeah,
it's stupid. There's no reason to have. Just tell me. I would be fine if they just said your account that you play offline cannot be used online. I'd be like, hey, no issues whatsoever, because currently I can't play at all. But the difference between not being able to play at all versus being able to play, but you can't take that stuff because they're worried about cheating, no issues whatsoever with that. Like, just do it. But they lied about the service. I mean, it requires a service, the internet. And at some point, like that is now, honestly, even what I said in the review is I'm no longer pretending that a service game is just what the company requires. If it requires a service from me, we'll call it a service game, and I'll make sure it's clear in the review. But currently it requires an internet connection to do anything, which it shouldn't. And look at they got hammered, and people are all happy about their numbers. And I'm like, do you know what the numbers would be if they didn't get hammered? That's the problem. Do you know how many people would be more positive in reviews if they didn't get hammered? It's really hard to get that back. It's hard to get it back when there's no reason, because none of us are coming up with a good reason why that's single player only and online. Like, if there was a reason, I think it would be easy for me to explain away. But there's no reason. And then they turned off one of the reasons why they were trying to pretend you had to be online, which was a crossplay. Like, I feel bad for that. That would have really sucked to be like, okay, we're going to require being online, but we can say it's because y'all have crossplay, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, yeah, crossplay is not working.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. That must be a crap place to be as a dev. Like, and I don't mean treated poorly. I mean, right now, it must be pretty rough.
Yeah. And I'm happy it's succeeding regardless, but you do have to wonder what if. But at the same time, I think more people are patient when by the way, I'm not saying they have to be, but I think more people are willing to stick with it, because I think for those like me and some others out there, it scratches a certain itch, and it does it really well. I don't know if you guys agree. Like, I haven't played a game and you know, I can't remember the last game I played where loot was this impactful.
Yeah, I don't like it near as much as you do. It sounds like
yeah,
not even,
and that's fine, by the way. I want to make that
clear.
But
I like it. I like it. I just not to your level. I will say that mouse and keyboard, I did about 18 hours mouse and keyboard, 18 hours gamepad. It's the fucking weirdest game ever, where I would switch while in battle. because certain enemies required basically headshots or
Yeah.
more damage and others didn't. So I'd be like, this is fucking good. And then I'd be like, you know what? And I'd be sitting back and be like, oh, fuck. And I lean forward real quick and I'd be like, I got to switch back to mouse and keyboard because I'm getting my ass kicked. And there was something there that I couldn't quite nail down, but I do agree with Dustin. I think mouse and keyboard on this, there's a fidelity that you don't need depending on the weapons, but I had weapons where I needed it. So if I had mods and stuff, like I had a sniper rifle, I think we can all agree if there's no, magnetic, kind of pull, you're probably going to be more accurate with your mouse and keyboard. And so it just makes sense. But the weapons, dude, skill tree needs to go. Worst skill tree I've ever seen in a game. That thing, like I said in the review, it's called a skill tree because they can fall over and die like that skill tree did. It's the ugliest, nastiest, most useless skill tree I've ever seen. I'm so tired of +5s. If I see another game with +5%, I'm just going to be like, never touch and walk away. It kills me because all the other stuff is good. It feels like that skill tree doesn't exist in the game. You go in and you get these amazing mods. I had a mod that was like chains, and I don't know why it was called chains. There was no reason for it to be. It just drew chains around the guy and damaged him. And I was like, this is fucking at a sniper rifle? This is awesome. There's no reason for it to do that. It froze enemies. I was like, this is awesome. Then I switched that out and I had to change the entire way I played from one mod, which does not happen in Destiny. Sorry for fans of Destiny. It's not the same thing. That is the best part of Outriders. The absolute best part. And then they're like, hey, you got a skill. And you go in there and it's like, oh, great, +5. And I get that people are like, well, if you don't like it, it only comes up occasionally. It's true, but it doesn't feel like it exists in the same game because there's all this amazing stuff. Like the first time I got the nutsack gun, I knew it was special because no other gun looks like a ball sack of an alien.
Yeah, I know what gun you're talking about.
Yeah, I gotta find this gun.
It's throbbing and moving, and you're like, that's an alien ball sack. That's what I have. There's not a single time in Destiny where I've been so, that's a special gun, because the rest of the guns look normal in this game. So normal guns look normal, and then the exotics look exotic, right?
Yeah, they're like spinal cords on
dude,
them.
and mine were like, when they blow up again. And then I had a thing that was like, if they blow up and then they hit somebody, they blow up again. And it was awesome.
It's crazy.
Man. And then that part was great. But I did find that it wanted me to grind to update that exotic, because you need parts to upgrade that. The problem is I got kicked in 3 different boss fights. And one of them is a multi-layer. I think it's a 4-layer boss, 3 or 4-layer boss fight. The double green lizards. Do you remember this? Mm-hmm. And I had it set really high world tier. And I defeated it. And they drop a fucking exotic. And I run to get it, and it disconnects me.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, this is one of the first games where I'm like, fuck it. And I went to world tier 1. No lie. I'm like, not doing it again. Done. Went to world tier 1, beat him, got shitty gear, obviously, because it lowers your gear. That's the big problem with the game's disconnects, is that if it happens at a bad time, which it did for me multiple times, it harms the actual drops. And I get that can happen in other games that are online, but this one shouldn't do it because you don't
no
need
reason
to be
online.
Yeah.
No,
but lots to like. Not so much the sounds, though. It definitely needs some work on the sounds. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up the skill tree because I what class did you play as out of curiosity?
I played Technomancer. I call him Rogue, but the Trickster for a little while, and then I mained the Pyromancer once I sort of decided
not that
it was the one I liked.
It would have changed anything. I was just curious because I noticed that for the Devastator was more 10% bonus damage at close range, more shotgun drops and assault rifle drops plus extra damage. I was like, okay, cool. If I'm specializing in something, I know I can get those things. That's great. But what I noticed with the Technomancer was
that happens with Pyromancer.
Okay, makes sense because what I noticed is when you get to Technomancer, that class is going to freeze people constantly. And then when I was getting stat buffs that would allow me to do more damage when they're frozen, that's when I felt it. So it is lacking that, I think, because some are more punchy than others. But most
I just think it just needs to get away from +5. I don't know about you guys, but +5 and +10 can be moved onto the weapons. Move that to the weapons. Get rid of the percentage shit. I'm done with that, because that should be on your weapon anyway. Because where do you see the numbers? On the weapon. You don't see the numbers in the skill tree. So it makes no fucking sense logically to say there's a puzzle, but the fucking third page is in a different room. Like, that makes no sense. They're not even connected. So what I would like to have is have all those positives and negatives and stuff be on the weapons, stuff you can see there, and then make that skill tree things you can do. And there are enough things, because you only get 8 skills total. That's not a lot. Or 8, what are we calling them? Anomalies? What's the term for those things?
Powers, skills.
Powers. Since you only get 8 and you get them pretty quickly, I would like some customization of those. For example, my flame. I don't know if you guys did the pyromancer, but the flame is like this wide. It's the world's worst cone of death. It's this. It's like, it's almost it's wider than that. But I would love, for example, what if the skill adjusted that? What if you could adjust the powers a little bit? Because currently, if you're a technomancer and I'm a technomancer, our skills are our skills. So that would be a cool place, but it won't happen. I'm just saying that would have added a little variety.
Yeah, it's an interesting game to have a talk on, because it's
very interesting game and enjoyable.
All right. With that, do you fellas want to get into the news?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. First bit of news, and obviously the most important, broke today, the day we record this on Friday. So Jason Schreier, Bloomberg, wrote up this whole article about the current status of PlayStation and really what's going on behind the scenes in regards to their pursuit of big budget exclusives. So they had this one company that I'll grab the name of as we keep talking, but they had this one company that was handling a lot of things behind the scenes as a more of an unsung champion of finishing the big games and making sure they get out the door. And so it turns out that they wanted a little bit more piece of the pie. They wanted to direct their own projects. They wanted to get obviously a better role within the company. And so PlayStation shifted them over to a Last of Us 1 remake for PS5, but would never acknowledge the team's existence or anything along those lines or give them the budget. So when that happened, and they obviously weren't in a position to succeed, so they didn't succeed, they took that project, and now it says that Naughty Dog is working on a remake for The Last of Us 1. And now we're seeing things like this past week, Japan studio has pretty much shut down, and the Astrobot team is its own independent thing. So they lost like Ape Escape devs and Gravity Rush devs, everybody's golf devs. Those are all people who are gone now. PlayStation has, according to this article, openly said internally, I should mention, that they're not interested in niche projects in Japan, smaller niche titles that are only successful in Japan. They want more worldwide successes. And so they're focusing in on these heavy hitters because God of War and The Last of Us Part 2 helped Sony sell 114 million of those copies on PS4. And so when you combine that with the stumbling of the digital store, we just recently heard from an ex-Sony employee that the Vita was actually considered successful internally, but they decided to put it on the chopping block because of the hacking of the system, and they were afraid they were going to have another network error, so to speak, like they did in 2011. They said, just get rid of it. So now it's leading to mass departures. Also, Sony Bend, the Oregon studio who's responsible for Days Gone, which released in 2019, was actually a commercial success. Maybe not the most critical success, but it did well. It was a profitable game. And Days Gone 2 is not seen as a viable option. They are not letting them do a sequel and instead want to move this team as a support studio for Naughty Dog to work on a multiplayer game, while the second group was assigned to work on a new Uncharted game with supervision from Naughty Dog. So a lot of shifting puzzle pieces here. And of course, we've seen Xbox sort of start to do what PlayStation did last generation, where PlayStation had these big heavy hitters that we all love and know. And they surrounded them with these niche titles, these under the radar titles. So seeing Xbox with Game Pass, I should mention, is how they're doing it, doing Narita Boy and getting things like Exo Mecha on top of a Halo or maybe a Starfield, is how you're rounding out that portfolio to make it maybe a little more attractive to address a lot of angles, where PlayStation reportedly is stepping away from that. And so there's a lot to digest with all of that information. But overall, it seems like they are stepping, I wouldn't say away from, but more deeper into their game plan that was set with the PS4. And so without me rambling for too long here and the information being said, I want to know, what's your interpretation of some of the events that are transpiring within Sony and the direction that they seem to be trending in with actions and non-actions, like not internally communicating the closure of the Vita. And then we have Limo Games, Colin's own studio, or partially owned studio, I should say, learning through the news cycle that, hey, the Vita store is getting shut down. And so minor and major failures on a lot of fronts. So what do you both make of this?
Go ahead, Dustin.
So clearly there's been a changing of the guard going on. We've known about this. We've been able to see this in real time, but we didn't know necessarily what a lot of the things behind the scenes were. We saw Sean Layden step away in kind of a mysterious way. We saw Shuhei Yoshida, the head of Worldwide Studios, really kind of get demoted. And we don't really know if that was something that he chose to do or if it was just kind of a, we don't want to get rid of you, but we don't want you here in this level anymore. And, Maddie, I think that what you said was, I'm in partial agreement, is that Sony is doubling down on what made them successful in the PlayStation 4 generation, which was these big blockbuster titles. But in a way, it just feels like they're doing it in the wrong way. And I think one really interesting detail from that article was that this Last of Us 2 remake is happening, and it's in development at Naughty Dog. And the plan is that they're going to sell you that as a bundle with Last of Us Part 2 as a PlayStation 5 version. So what we can gather from that is, number one, you're not getting a free update of Last of Us Part 2 on PlayStation 5, and they are going to triple dip on The Last of Us because they'll have released it on PS3 and then remastered it, a pretty extensive remaster and a very well done remaster for PS4 literally the next fucking year. Which, here's the thing, I fucking bought it, I played it, it was a high quality, well done remaster, included all the DLC, whatever. But a lot of people find double dipping to be somewhat unsavory for companies to do, but often we go along with it because we do want the product at the end of the day. It is a triple dip. Is it? Are people gonna buy it anyway? I mean, I don't know. It just seems weird. Like that. Think about that package. It's like, hey, here's an update for a game you already bought that the other side would have given you for free, but we're not going to do that. And here is the third version of a game that you've already bought potentially twice, and then we're just going to smush that together for $70. Here you go. It's like you can't double down on things that work that much. Like, there's too much of a good thing, and this overemphasis on Naughty Dog is concerning to me. Obviously, Naughty Dog is a fantastic studio. In fact, I would say it's probably PlayStation's best studio. Obviously, that's up for debate, of course, but no one can argue that they're top tier talent. Okay. So to see them, first of all, just absorb this project, which was someone else's project, and then they were just kind of like, no, you know what? We're going to do that. And then you have Sony Bend, who released Days Gone, which was a commercial success at the end. It had mixed reviews and mixed opinions, but it was a sales success, not as big as other PlayStation things, but it was Sony Bend making their own game for the first time in a while. And instead of following up and giving them a chance to really double down on the things that worked in that game and giving them kind of a second start, they're basically been demoted again. They're like a support. They're acting as a support studio. And one really important and interesting line from that article too is where Jason wrote that there are Sony Bend developers that are concerned that they are just going to get absorbed by Naughty Dog. And like I said, Naughty Dog is top tier talent, of course, but when they're just absorbing things like that doesn't seem to be the way to go. Like that just does it, just because I'm trying to think of an example. Like you can have a restaurant that you change the name of to a more popular, better restaurant, but if you don't change the cooks and the menu on the inside, it's still the same thing. Obviously, there's can be some adaptation and direction as far as studio culture, but it just seems weird that they really do give Naughty Dog the ability to do seems to be whatever they want, and maybe that's justified with the success that the studio has had. But from everything in this article, it's very concerning stuff.
Yeah, I can't help but worry that it's a situation where, and then Karak, obviously, I want you to go just before it escapes my mind. I want to just throw out there, I worry that there's this notion of, hey, only big success. So only an Uncharted, only a Last of Us, only a Ghost of Tsushima. We only want the big, big, big success. But a small success, like I imagine Days Gone was, they just look at that, and I think this is where just the business aspect comes in. They say, well, we could make way more if we go over here. I imagine this has to do with the TV show. Like, hey, we're gonna get a Netflix Witcher kind of situation. More people are gonna check us out, and we want to have the package ready for them then. So I would say it's going to time out with that. But I don't want to chime in too much here because, Karak, I want to get your thoughts on this, where PlayStation's trending and how you feel maybe about the situation that just broke today.
I actually agree with Dustin. There's not much. I don't really have much to add. It's like right now there isn't a lot known other than, Jim has his thoughts, and I think everybody, if you tracked him, this is what, it would have been like almost a year ago, whenever Jim took over. This is one of the things we said was that, why did Sean leave? Because Sean thinks this, and this is what I told everybody. If you tracked Jim, you would have seen this. So to me, none of this is surprising. It sucks maybe, but I'm not sure Sony's going to not have third parties handle some of this stuff, which admittedly, I know whenever I say that about Microsoft, people are like, they need the first parties. Those are the only ones that matter. But with Sony, maybe they'll ignore that and they'll be okay with it. I think I'm okay with it. I think if Sony does focus a little bit more on primes and getting those out, and third-party companies that they hire second party as well, which we don't hear about as much, but it does happen. I think those would be fine. But Jim, he's the one who said he didn't. I don't know why anybody's surprised. It's like, go track him. Go read everything he said. This is what I said a year ago was, dude, he has stated very clear. He even stated, we want to treat it just like the PS3 and PS4 with big and that's what he stated a year ago. So the idea that he's doing it today should not surprise anybody, including the people that are working there. The Naughty Dog thing sucks because I'm sure nobody at Bend wants to be removed from maybe making what they want to make. But I can guarantee you, as a CEO, if I'm looking down the barrel of another Days Gone, possibly having all the issues Days Gone had and making money finally, there's a huge difference between making money finally and Naughty Dog.
Now, my question is,
sadly enough,
when it came...
I want to add one last thing.
Sorry.
This game in particular is a COVID filler. Absolutely, by the way. We already know that. This game, the reason why this remaster is being made is because other games are being pushed. This is something I talked about almost 6 months ago, where it's like, we know for a fact big games are being delayed. Deathloop, they finally announced. I don't know what the delay was on that, but those are being delayed. There's holes opening up. And so what's happening is you can make a remaster and you can put those things together and you can fit them in and then make your big AAA, whatever you want to call it, whatever Sony's going to name these. You can do that as well and still feel like you're sort of feeding your core contingent, even though we don't think that.
Yeah. Sorry. No, it's I think really worth pointing out. I just can't help but look at some of the franchises that are being left to the wayside, and
Sure.
Some I care about more deeply than others, so there is some nostalgia baked into that, but I just can't help but look at that and think, well, damn, but I think just kind of like what I was tapping into, and you said very well, is that, yeah, when you're looking down the barrel about something like a Days Gone finally finding success, I wanted to ask, when we reviewed that game, Karak, we got that game pretty early, if I remember correctly. We got it about a week and a half early, I want to say, which, by the way, for those who don't know, the standard is usually about less than a week. We get 5 days.
Yeah, I would say for
more.
Sony, it's a week or less, a little less. Yeah, depending.
Spider-Man, we got 2 weeks early, I want to say, or we got
Spider-Man and Microsoft is done early, but I would say you're right that it's probably a week or a little less for an average for Sony.
Yeah, and so they make you put in the work. But what's interesting is with Days Gone, when we got it as reviewers, it was really broken. And so as we reviewed it, they released patches. But even by the time the final patch was released for day one, I went in and tested it. It was still buggy. It wasn't as buggy, but it was still pretty fucked up. But still, it was a far cry from what we played on day 1 and 2 versus day 7. And so what I find strange about this is Sony saying, well, no, fuck your Days Gone 2. Its critical reception wasn't that good, even though the commercial was solid. When are they not partially to blame for how that critical reception rolled out? Because they gave the game out.
Those two guys
are
gone, though, Matty. The two guys who ran Bend had already left.
Yeah.
So they we don't know, right? Sean left, and we will never know. Did you guys see that Sean was liking some of the posts? Colin did a post, and then I put a picture of Phil Spencer and him in the background, and then somebody put a post of me and Maddie behind Phil. Did you see that one? That was awesome. I think we will never know, but with the 2 leads at Bend gone, that might have been not a chopping of heads, but where somebody's like, listen, this didn't work out. It's not working. It's me, it's you. You need to go. And we don't know if that's what it is, but I agree with you. It may be their fault, but remember, Jim was not in charge if it was their fault. So Jim is making a choice based on whatever faults did occur prior. He can't just say, well, it would have for sure worked well if I was here. No CEO usually does that. So for the most part, what he's doing is seeing the outlay of it, deciding, what exactly would be needed. And this is just me. I personally believe most people want Days Gone 2 because they're now told they can't have Days Gone 2. It's like a chick who's like, yeah, I want to leave. And you're like, well, I didn't really like you, but now I do. So admittedly, even if you like Days Gone 2, a zombie open world game, seriously, versus something else, because remember, this is not the only thing they're working on. This is what we know right now. So
yeah, I'm seeing these tweets now with Sean Layden, Colin, your tweet. Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, and you guys know, it takes me a while to like any CEO because you never quite that they're good. I'm not the type of person who hates every CEO. I think some can be good. Jack Trenton, I liked after a while. I sort of got his vibe and his rhythm, and I was like, okay, I'm getting where it's
shake the corporate dust off,
Yeah, and then I admit it took me even longer with Shane. It took me a while because I couldn't understand where he was coming from, because the honest truth is the way he talked, you didn't believe him. But I think he came through with what he talked about, which was arty farty, which I like, by the way. Concrete Genie. Will we get a Concrete Genie with Jim? I don't know. If we don't, I'm gonna be mad because Concrete Genie is fucking awesome.
Well, this is the thing, right? It's funny you bring that up. I mentioned this in my video on PlayStation I'm going to release tomorrow. So when this goes live to the public, some have already heard it, but I said, you just got to take a look at some of the actions Sony's already made where this makes sense. Like, I don't know if you want to not take the reporting at face value, I totally respect that. But when Concrete Genie's review embargo lifted, they announced on that same fucking day that PlayStation 5 was coming in holiday 2020. It's like, what do you think people are going to be talking about? You give it one more day. Like, what was the push there? Especially in the middle of well, actually, at that time we were not in pandemic. But point being is, they even more so smushed Concrete Genie when it did not need to be. So I can't help but look at stuff like that. And, you know, it's one thing where you look at the backwards compatibility. It's like, okay, these two have marched to a different beat the whole way through backwards compatibility. So if
the whole way through.
Yeah, if they're going to do their own thing, they're going to do their own thing. But these are the types of moves I found a little more overly concerning because the quality will be there. You're going to get, hey, a really great Spider-Man game. I imagine Ratchet & Clank's going to be great. Horizon, God of War. I think all of these games are going to be good.
Wait.
Yeah, right. I can't wait either, especially for Ratchet & Clank. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I still can't
Horizon for me, dude.
Really? Okay. Yeah, dude. Like, I'm excited
Neon
for their games,
dinosaurs.
but you know, the part of what was exciting about them is I feel like there was like these little things you were getting thrown in the middle of all of that would spice it up a little bit. It wasn't just the third person whatever game, open world, semi-open shooter, what have you. Diversity is king, and PlayStation. I mean, when you look at some of the resting franchises they have, Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper, SOCOM, Gravity Rush. I mean, they had and still have a Twisted Metal, a portfolio of titles that that really helped round out what PlayStation is all about. And obviously, different eras. You know, Sly and Jack, I don't see those coming back because those are during like the 3D platforming era, but I would love if they did. But point being is, you know, they do go through these waves, but there are things that stand the test of time and things that they intermingle that are new. And so I'm sure we'll see new things, but I don't know if it'll be on the level of what we saw last generation, which is one thing that a lot of people greatly feared was, I don't want to call it complacency, but a very different game plan from Sony. Yeah, The Last of Us 1 apparently getting a remake, and that'll be sold to you at a later date. I'll remain open-minded on that because I do have to say I feel kind of bad for Naughty Dog because all their projects have been able to be judged way before we really saw or experienced anything. So do want to give it the time just to see what it is, but I think triple dipping is a little fucking nasty. So I'll wait it out, though. Anything else we want to add, or shall we move on?
Yes, unless you have
sweet.
this on your list. We did also hear the rumor we've all talked about, is this possible, whatever, that Sony does have a counter-strike against Microsoft's Game Pass.
Yeah, perfect timing. Let's talk about it.
Okay, all right. So I just want to make sure.
No,
Anyway,
I didn't have it in there. I didn't have it in there. I'm saying, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I don't remember who said this, by the way. I thought it was a website, but I saw it while in my other...
It.
Okay, yeah. And they stated that that behind the scenes, the idea is that there's some kind of counter-strike or counter-punch was the term for Game Pass, which to me is Game Pass for PSN. Whatever you want to call it. That's the counterpoint. Yeah, which would be... It. Oh, they thank you. Oh. Okay.
His words were...
He had talked to several sources, I think was what he said. But
there is actually news to come, but just not today. When he said, when asked how PlayStation will respond to Microsoft subscription services, we have PlayStation Now, which is our subscription service, and that is available in a number of markets. He continued. Jaffe, who has worked at PlayStation for 14 years but left the company in 2007, has also heard from his sources at Sony that a response to Game Pass is in the work. I've said it time and time again that people who are writing Jim Ryan's obituary are way premature, which I agree with to some extent.
Yeah.
We had the guy on the show yesterday that made the petition to fire Jim Ryan, was like, dude, that's way premature because Jim Ryan doesn't owe anybody. Sony doesn't owe anybody the truth about what's coming and what their counterpunch to Game Pass is. What I can tell you is I know they are doing some stuff because I know people at Sony who have told me they are doing stuff. There will be a response to Game Pass. What it is, we don't know. Here's what I worry
to me,
about.
That's just like a person saying something will happen.
Yeah, which I don't know why this is a story. This is the only thing that may be worth talking about. Here's what I would say. I worry about if Jim Ryan thinks the proper response to Game Pass is to emulate backwards compatibility, PS3 games 2 and 1, and then also add trophies, which is what that patent suggests they're going to do. And then he's going to fold in all the movies and shit and make a streaming service. He's absolutely wrong if he thinks that mixing in PS Now is the way to go. And he says that would make me go, I don't think this man has a clue, because that's not going to compete with Game Pass. This is something we talked about, Dustin, a retro service. We talked about this on Defining Duke Ultimate, a retro service coming to PlayStation to compete, maybe not directly with Game Pass, but adding value to the service. Right. Have your thoughts developed on that at all, where maybe, with this picture in place now and the addition of, hey, you could play, what's a game? Legacy of Kain on your PS2 emulation with trophies. Does that light the Dustin Furman fire a little bit?
I just don't think, based on all this info today, I just don't think that there's any reality where that's happening. Like, it's clear that Sony is focused on new big AAA stuff. So the thought of a subscription or any kind of retro stuff, like, to me, it's just like, yeah, they don't care about backwards compatibility. They did it because they had to with PS4, and that's it. They're shutting down the PS Vita store, they're shutting down the PS3 store, and that's it. I don't know. At this point, I mean, I was like, had a shred of a maybe before, but the news today just was like, yeah, don't have any optimism about backwards compatibility on PlayStation, because it just doesn't seem like it's happening. They would much rather remake it and resell it to you. And if it's not worth doing that to, then forget about it. It's just fucking dead.
Yeah, because they actually in the article said they were originally making the first Uncharted, which I think could have made some sense. Was it this podcast we talked about the first Uncharted, or was it Defining Duke with Mike?
It was... it might have been with Mike. Yeah, it was, where we talked about one being really rough. Mm-hmm. It didn't age well.
Because that was the one I liked. And it's, funny enough, probably the one that's aged the worst, but I like the feel of it. And that was one that I think you could have gotten away with saying, hey, we're remaking this, because everything else feels all right. And then the first one with the movie and stuff, I mean, that's the thing. They probably had one to go with one or the other if they're going to synchronize it with some type of multimedia release that I imagine they would be doing. Kind of like what they did with Ratchet and Clank, right? They released a 2016 reboot, and then they did the movie alongside it. And while the movie I don't think did that well, the game was great. Hey, that was awesome. But yeah, we'll see what PlayStation responds with. It'll only be a matter of time. I think Xbox is really putting the pressure on where we'll see something sooner. I don't think they're going to rush anything out, by the way. That just more so means I think they feel more compelled to say, here's what we're doing, when they get the chance to. Let's talk about Xbox, speaking of that. Hideo Kojima. So this is the man who brought us the likes of Death Stranding, brought us Metal Gear, and typically teamed up with PlayStation. The early Metal Gear days. Death Stranding and Kojima Productions were all raised through the PlayStation system. And if a report from Jeff Grubb over at GamesBeat is to be believed, it seems like Kojima is setting up to publish his next game from Kojima Productions at Xbox, which would probably make it an Xbox exclusive. Other than that, the deal has not been finalized yet, is what the report says. But really not a crazy amount to go on here, but certainly worth talking about, I thought, because one of the biggest barriers for Xbox has been, of course, Japan. How do we crack in there? And we're seeing little dents. I think Octopath Traveler first on Xbox before PlayStation is a sign of something like that. Very minor, but a sign of the direction that they're trying to trend in a little bit here. We heard rumors that Xbox was going to go get Sega to use Sega as like an arm to sort of leverage Japanese talent. But now this report's saying that Hideo Kojima is a key piece of leveraging that talent. You get someone like Kojima in your system, that brings a level of confidence that Xbox is intermingling with one of the most legendary. It doesn't mean he's the best, by the way, if anyone hates Death Stranding or Metal Gear, but just one of the most popular Japanese developers. Could be a very good sign for both sides, really, because at the end of the day, like any creator, Kojima and many others are teaming up with these companies because they'll foot the bill, let you make your game, and you'll walk away hundreds of thousands of dollars richer, and you made the thing you wanted to make, and everyone's better off for it. So if you're wondering why Kojima's going over there, it's because he's a sensible creator like most are. With that out there, what do you gentlemen make of this latest rumor? Not as much legs here, of course. It was one report from Jeff Grubb, who seems to keep popping up in the news cycle, so we can only run with it so much here. Not treat it as fact, but hey, let's discuss a little bit. What do you make of Kojima to Xbox, maybe?
I mean, it would be great for Xbox for sure to get that kind of grab. Yeah, Kojima is definitely the type of guy that he has a vision and he knows, well, maybe he doesn't know what his budget is, because that was always the thing about Metal Gear Solid 5 taking way too long and being way over budget. But my thought is that, yeah, part of me thinks like, Sony kind of rolled out the red carpet for him and scooped him up and kind of gave him the pick of the litter, helped him with his studio using Decima and stuff like that. So part of me is like, it would be weird for him to switch over because he's kind of already, they've made his team has experience with Decima. So, that could be a possibility. But, the thing to think of too, something different, because we talked about this on Sacred Symbols, but, Kojima he could have a deal with Xbox and PlayStation for two different games. Like,
that's a good point.
He could, now that he's well established and Death Stranding has come and gone, that he has multiple projects. Maybe he has one that he's directing and one that he's or like overseeing, kind of like a more oversight. Maybe something like that. I don't know how big his team is. Maybe that's completely wrong. But either way, yeah, I see Matty, like you said, Kojima as being a suave creator willing to go where he needs to go to get his vision fulfilled.
I mean, you can't help but connect the dots that with the, by the way, I looked it up. It says that they have about 80 employees at Kojima Productions. So I don't know if that'd be enough to double, but that number is as of 2019. So
right.
It more likely has increased by then, especially if he's going to be talking with other companies. But anyway, what I was going to say is someone like Kojima, where Death Stranding didn't, as far as I know, light up the sales charts. And so part of that, I think, was attributed to the type of game it was, just you're running around delivering stuff. And I think part of it was also no one knew really quite what the game was. So do you think Kojima seems to be more apt to go to Xbox because of Game Pass? That level of exposure might be necessary for his type of game?
Well, I think we can connect this to the previous story that Kojima may not want to make a shooty, sneaky game anymore. And we saw that with Death Stranding. And the old Sony, the Sean Layden Sony, was like, fuck yeah, let's do something weird, And now the new guard at Sony is like, yeah, there's no fucking reality where we're making a game again that's, in the vein of a delivery man in a spooky ghost world. Like, I just don't see, based on what we've read in that report, I just don't see that being the case. And so Kojima's like, he maybe pitched stuff to Sony and they were like, based on what happened before, this is just as weird or weirder. And yeah, we don't want a game that just sells. We want a game that sells. We've talked about God of War, stuff like that, and Last of Us. So, Xbox may be like, yeah, bring your weird, baby chest pack shit over here. We'll take you.
Yeah, it says that Hideo Kojima said in a Japanese interview with Live Door, translated by VGC, that we've absolutely crossed the line we need to be in the black, including recovering development costs, so I'd call it a successful result. We still have the PC release coming up, so this was as of May 30th, 2020, and we've secured enough to begin preparing for our next project, so there's no need to worry. So According to Famitsu box sales data, Death Stranding has sold 262,827 copies in Japan. In the U.S., it was the 7th best-selling game of November 2019, according to that MPD group. So it did well enough. Maybe that's where Game Pass comes in. It can do better than well enough, because we've seen now with numbers through Outriders, for example, that your game will sell because Game Pass can market your game. Karak, what do you make of some of these rumors that are surfacing?
Nothing. I refuse to comment on this one. I will say, I already commented during your podcast of Defining Duke and had to have fucking poor Dustin go through my video and cut it out. So I think right now I'm just going to shut up, not talk about some stuff. I will say, who owns the Konami IP, or who owns the IP for Metal Gear? Konami does, right?
Apparently they're licensing it out.
Yeah, apparently they are.
Apparently they are.
Wow.
Scoop. No, I'm just saying.
I mean,
the
stars are aligning. That's for goddamn
dude.
Sure.
Somebody else said stuff online. It's probably the person you're reporting on, and that was right after I talked to Dustin. I was like, dude, X-nay. And so I'm just gonna let everybody handle their stuff and see what happens. But I think with this kind of thing, I think the idea that 80 employees is wrong.
Yeah, that number is pretty old.
Yeah, but I agree with Dustin that there's, especially when you look at what's his name wants to do, Kojima, I don't think Kojima doesn't want to do Metal Gear for a price. But I think that if that price is like not met, if like it wasn't financially like so interesting with a lot of freedom, then these other smaller games are things that I think people are forgetting that Kojima would want to do.
Dude,
I think it makes sense.
Dude, fucking
go ahead, Dustin.
I don't know. I had a Matty hype moment of creating a scenario in my head that was, what if it was coordinated that through this Metal Gear license, again, hypothetical, that Kojima was able to go back and finish Metal Gear Solid 5, the Kojima cut with the final chapter.
Kojima cut.
Boom.
Oh my God.
I don't think people really realize, though, that like when you look at money and you look at Microsoft, what Microsoft is dealing on is a level that's beyond. If they want something, it's beyond what anybody else can sort of identify. And that would include ideas that are so like mind-bending that you'd be like, what the fuck, really? And by the way, I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm just saying that I don't think people are realizing how much money's out there. You guys do, because we did a podcast where you guys talked about things being overvalued. And I'm going to tell you right now, guess who's overvalued? Kojima.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They said it made $27 million. I was quite surprised that was considered very good. $27 million for the port for the PC. I was actually quite surprised until I looked into it and started looking at the cost for that game for the port, talking about the port. And I think there's some thought processes that are going on that everybody's looking at Sony to respond to Microsoft, forgetting that Microsoft will continue to move forward on their own. I'll just say that. And same with Nintendo. The companies aren't standing still, and they're doing things differently. And if there's no money being spent in one place from one company because they've already handled the major part, that means they're doing other stuff. And I think we're going to see a lot of big development. This is what I was talking about with third party. I think there's some things that people are going to be like, oh, interesting, because there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of money. I don't think people realize this is the last one, man. This is the gambit. Microsoft feels that this is like the time to do everything. If you guys don't understand how I know that, they're working with Apple. It's unheard of. It is unheard of for them to be like, oh, you're going to pull our streaming app. Okay, well, then we're going to make a browser so we can still get on your service. People do not realize what Microsoft is doing, which is well and above as different as what Nintendo's doing. If you think about it, it's like Microsoft is doing this stuff. But I think we would all sort of be able to guess and second guess. And Nintendo's down here doing their stuff. And there's going to be some really cool surprises from all of them. We'll see if they come to fruition.
That would be
cool if they do.
A wild scenario if Xbox managed to extract the IP of Metal Gear, hand it to Kojima, and say, "Here,
Konami's not making games. You know that, right?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. If they licensed it out and just said, "Hey,
Konami's making fucking Pachinko or whatever. I can't pronounce
Pachinko.
Yeah.
Pachinko. Thank
Hey,
you.
What
Pachinko.
about that
And
Contra
gyms.
game?
They're doing gyms.
They're doing a Contra game? I'm sorry. Maybe they are doing a game.
No, they did one. Contra Rogue Core or something like that.
That game was
And it was
bad.
Rogue Core?
That game
Was it
I think they
bad.
licensed the IP to some. I don't think it was an internal.
I have a question for you guys. When you guys were young in school, did you ever have a friend or did you ever tell a friend, I don't want to talk to this girl myself. Can you ask her if she likes me? That is what's occurring with multiple companies right now, not just Microsoft.
I can't focus.
Sorry.
Definitely been there.
They liked you every time, Matty.
Oh,
you
I
just
don't know about that.
They liked you. But a lot of companies, that's what's happening right now because Sega as well. I don't think people are realizing, like a Sega, you guys saw Virtual Fighter did get announced. They are doing a Virtual Fighter.
Oh.
But when you look at the money, you're like, where's that money coming from? Well, there's reasons why Sony bought Evo. I just don't think people are putting, like, there's a lot of, if you sit back and look at
every time.
It's a domino effect, but it's also, you can put your finger on stuff and say, that didn't happen out of the blue. And this didn't, and that's why, and you guys know that Sega, you know, we talk about Microsoft and Sega, but look at Sony and Sega. Guys, not only Shenmue, they were a Virtual Fighter staple for a while after the Sega Saturn sort of stopped and the Sega Dreamcast sort of stopped. Virtual Fighter 4, I believe, was only on PS2. Sony have some stuff, Sega and Sony, sorry, have some stuff that I'm sure, you know, if money wants to change hands, imagine Jim Ryan looking at Sony and saying, or looking at Sega and saying, hey, there's some shit here that would be, Sega's sitting on IPs like a madman. Yeah. So I think we're going to see a lot of that. It's going to be an awesome year, especially December, because I have to ask you guys, do you guys think Halo's delayed?
I think it gets out.
Karak acts like he knows something here, which I know that I don't want to put him on the spot, but
I believe it's delayed, but go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Well, that's the thing. Every time, like, because I'm working on defining Duke, and you're like, I don't know about that. I'm like, there's something going on between the lines here. Like, is Halo Infinite getting delayed? I feel like I think that we'll know in June. Like,
ooh, that's okay.
Because
right. That makes sense.
There has to be the blowout. The blowout has to be in June at E3. If it's light on Halo stuff at E3, it's not happening.
This. If they do a beta in June, it is being delayed.
If they do a beta in June?
Okay, wait. Say that again. If they do a beta in June, it's being delayed.
If they do a beta, because they're not going to drop the beta before they drop the info on the game. So it's going to come after. So if they do a beta or of the multiplayer, I'm saying, of some kind, I think it's getting delayed. Not because people are going to find issues. I think because Chris made a really good point when we talked about Halo of how long they had with Halo 5's multiplayer beta to implement changes, fixes, all of that stuff. They had about a year before the launch of the game to implement all of the changes for Halo 5. If you're dropping a beta in June, I'm not saying suddenly it's June 2022, but all I'm saying is I think they don't have the time to make, especially in a pandemic, by the way. That was with normal dev circumstances. I don't think they have the time to make the proper fixes if they need to. So I'm saying if you see a beta, it's getting delayed. If you don't, that does not mean that it can't get delayed. I just think that that means that they're going to get it out no matter what, and they don't want you to doubt the quality of the game. But with
I
the
think
beta, there's a transparency there that I think will lead to a delay.
I think that's a good point. I think one thing that people need to remember is that, and this is going to sound specious, but just bear with me. Sony was going to buy or attempted or was looking into spending a great deal of money on Starfield's exclusivity, right? We all remember that. We also had multiple reports that Sony was spending a great deal of money on IPs, or was trying to spend a great deal of money that Microsoft at that point had not been spending. That was another rumor. Sony did not put their pocketbook away just because Starfield didn't work out, is what I'm saying. So let's say there was 200 million on the table. By the way, just guess. I'm just like, I don't even think that's a real number. I'm just saying, if they don't get Starfield, does Sony go, well, we'll save 100, but we'll spend 50 in 3 other places. Sony doesn't stop. And I just think people need to reflect that Microsoft doesn't stop. It's just that Microsoft's money is, dude, you and I looked at their books, or I was looking at the spreadsheet. Once you see it, then your brain is like, wait, what? Like, you'll see people say Game Pass has to raise the prices, and it's like, does it? I mean, does it?
They don't need to.
It's made. See, the difference is people forget maintenance versus creation. For example, if Sony decides tomorrow we're making a PSN pass, they have to build the infrastructure to make a PSN pass, which costs money in and of itself. That's different than the maintenance of something. So I think these companies have a lot more money than we expect, which goes into what you guys were saying. The prices are bloated, man. The prices, the amount of money people are spending is bloated, and so is the asking. And I think you're going to hear some weird numbers coming out that it doesn't surprise me. I mean, dude, look at him. Like American McGee did a Kickstarter. Do you guys know him? Yeah, you do. We talked about this. Or Alice. Yeah. Ken Levine is another one. Like disappeared, right?
Yeah, where the fuck?
If I was Microsoft, by the way, I'm totally right now. Let's make sure this is clear. We're just talking. What if Microsoft was like, hey, we want BioShock, whatever, as an Xbox exclusive? Can you have the time you need?
You talking about if he talked to Ken or he talked to 2K?
If he talked to Ken or 2K, or Ken and does a spiritual successor, because Ken's totally allowed to do a spiritual successor. So it's like those things can happen, and those creators are worth the money right now to these companies. Microsoft is doing shit money-wise that's just it blows my mind, guys. Microsoft made a deal with Sony for Azure services. Like, you know that somebody's trying to do something when they actually allow their competitor onto their server network. Like, dude, I mean, do you guys think about it? Like, when you look at all these weird things, you're like, this is a crazy, unprecedented, like, console battle. I don't even know if I call it battle. I don't know what you guys would. I don't even know if I call it battle, because it's not even consoles anymore.
It's not a battle. That's the thing. I tell people all the time, it's not a battle. Like, it's almost like shit is so far and done.
Yeah, I don't know what you would call it now. Like the console expansion, right? Like that would be a good way to terminate. So you could have your Sony.
A high tide raises all ships. And so it doesn't mean that you do not need to get Halo on PlayStation, but hey, crossplay excites everybody. It gets everyone buying games, whatever system. And then it's
look
about
at Square
deals. Like,
look at Outriders.
Yeah,
how much do you guys think that cost?
Oh, dude. They have to be thankful Outriders played out the way they did.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, maybe Square's writing the check, not getting the check.
Yeah, I was about to say, because they were not in a good position, I feel, after Avengers. Not that was the single creator, but they had a I bring up Final Fantasy
question. Do you guys feel that PSN getting it?
What do you mean? Like the
Final Fantasy 15, why? Did you guys think there was something weird about Avengers magically going to PSN for free?
Oh, the PS Now,
whatever it's called.
PS Now.
Yeah, interesting timing. That seemed like too quick to be directly responsive. So I think it was one of those kind of Bethesda situations where they were maybe playing both sides of the fence as a deal was being made. They, had one hand behind their back, sort of. Yeah.
Dude,
by the way, your mic
sense.
keeps cutting out. At least on my end. Maybe I'm just lagging, or is it?
It's cutting for me too.
Mine.
Yeah, like it's like you'll start talking,
here we
and
go.
then it'll just.
Oh.
Oh.
Karak's out.
Am I back?
There you go.
Yes.
You'll start a sentence, and what would happen is you'd be silent, and then you'd kick in.
I apologize. Anyway,
No,
it's
good.
just
That's good.
Oh, one quick detail about the Avengers on PlayStation Now. That's only the PS4 version. You cannot, which we talked about this on Sacred, and very lightly I'll try to, from my understanding, it's because PS Now gives you the temporary like authorization, like the license or whatever that they can revoke. But to get a PS5 upgrade, you have to do that process where it takes you to a store and you like redeem the PS5 version, and then you have authorization to it. And I'm guessing that Sony is just they don't really know how to do it. Is my best guess. Is that they're like, we barely scraped together PS5 upgrades to begin with. You really expect us to be able to figure out PS Now to give you the PS5 version? I mean, I don't know.
Well, and Dustin, I don't know if that feeds into the conversation, but that is sort of what I'm saying is that goes towards if there's a Counter-Strike for Game Pass, Sony has to make it and figure it out. And there's nothing wrong with that. It took Xbox 3 generations to get Xbox Live working. Remember, it was on the original Xbox. It wasn't perfect. So, it takes a long time. Obviously, they'll be way faster. But I'm just saying that, those kind of things, they take time, and maybe Sony's having issues. I hope Jim's focus is on getting that fixed, though, because those are weird. Well, like Soulstorm, am I going crazy, or is that PS5 only?
I thought it was, but
it's on PS4, but you do not get the PS4 version for free from PlayStation.
I gotta tell you guys, that's gotta stop. Sony, that of all the things Jim, I wish he was listening. Of all the things Jim's got to do, he's got to knock that shit off. Where you have to. Our show. Jim, you can't do that. It can't. It has to be like if you buy the PS4 version, PS5's free. If you buy PS5, PS4 version's free. It just has to happen. Like that's one part where both companies need to do it from now on. That's just consumer, not even friendly. That's like
you paid for the product.
Expectation.
Like,
yeah. Dude, if Android, admittedly, when Android updates a ton, sometimes your older stuff, but come on, it takes 5 versions of Android for that to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting to the point now where this needs to occur. But like Dustin said, if he's canceling PS3 stores and shit, then who knows what he's smoking. CBD knows? And pot is now legal in many more states. Maybe Jim's puffing and not passing the bong.
He's just sitting in the office.
I'm sure somebody's going to get mad. Jim's just like, he's just restful. He's actually got plans, but he's just laid back. Everybody else is stressed. Phil Spencer's pulling his fucking nice weave out. And Jim's just like, just wait. I gotta
he's like, just let Naughty Dog take care of it.
Yeah, oh God! Hey, Naughty Dog's got an extra person. They can remake something, right? We've gone off the tail. I apologize, everybody. That was funny though.
Kind of like this, and you just see him looking out like a giant window, and you just see smoke
the ME3, the exclusive man or the elusive man.
Yes.
Martin Sheen. That'd be awesome. It cuts to Jim, and he's just not even looking, not even at the camera. Just doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, yeah, we got plans, baby.
Dude. Oh yeah, Jim's got some elusive man energy. That guy had the smokiest. I think it was a cigar. Like he had the smokiest cigar of all time. Like he'd just be sitting still.
He did. Yep.
He would not smoke it at all, and that shit would just be like.
It's like a video game where the shaders fucked up and it's just staying there. Yeah, no. I mean, all this stuff is exciting. That's why I'm excited for it. Like people need to know a lot of money's being spent, and it's gonna be fun. This fall is gonna be really fun, man.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Fun. It's a good time for both parties. You know, that's what
we
want. It's exactly what we want.
Except for Nintendo. Fuck off Nintendo. Everybody else, though.
This fall you're getting 2 re-releases from Nintendo.
Boom. Sorry, we've gone so far off. Now I'm just jiving,
Kojima.
But yeah. It all started with Kojima. Yeah, sorry.
It's just like one of his stories. Ooh, moving on. All right.
Oh,
let's talk about Deathloop. Deathloop got delayed to September 14th, 2021. Originally, still is. PlayStation 5 exclusive.
Dude, that's a rumor right there. You just bombed it. Originally, was just 4.
That Xbox is going to pull a fast one and put them on Game Pass PC day one. because it is releasing on PC. It's just console exclusive. I think Xbox is going to find a way to get that on PC Game Pass and be like, you can get it here if you want it. We'll see. That's just a little conspiracy theory. Any hype for Deathloop in this little call that we're in here? Anyone looking forward to Deathloop? It gives us some breathing room as reviewers in May, by the way. That's the good sign for us internally. Now we get a little more time to focus on these other products. But as gamers, Deathloop, checking the temperature. Where are we at? Hot or not?
Not really much.
Dustin?
I'm in a stasis feeling of just being like, yep.
That's aggressively
Blase.
okay. Yeah.
Well,
we're the beige of game
like,
podcasts. We're like,
well,
it's
I'm
like,
excited to
you're
play.
not
I
content.
love Arcane.
You're just in stasis.
Right. I'm excited, and they keep showing clips that look cool. I still don't really get it, but I'm going to play it when it comes out. Take your time. It'll be here when it's here.
Don't forget to put your picture of
I
the
agree with
Miyamoto
that.
quote for every game that gets delayed. You know what I'm talking about? Every time it happens.
yeah, where it's like a good game is delayed, or
Forever
a good game can
bad.
be delayed, a bad game
yeah.
forever.
Yeah, I'm just like, come on. Like,
No
give
Man's
it a
Sky
rest.
proved that, by the way. I know people think it doesn't, but No Man's Sky proved that while it is a good game now, number one, it's not what they said. Number two, it'll never capture what it could have. Imagine day one, guys, if No Man's Sky did what it does now.
Yeah. Sorry,
It'd be
if you hear some
crazy.
clicking. I'm putting the case on my sushi I had earlier. It's quite good. California.
Sushi. Wow.
You don't like sushi?
I don't like any seafood. You know that. Come on, man.
Well,
Dude, we're lovers.
I know.
Why
but
can't you remember anything about anything I say?
What?
I feel
definitely do.
unloved.
Yeah, why don't you fucking remember, Maddie? You're a
Well,
bad
hold on.
friend.
Here's the thing. I should have reposed my retort because I had California rolls with imitation crab. It's not technically real.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's a fish that pretends to be a crab.
I think it's tuna, right? Isn't imitation crab tuna?
is it? I don't
And
know.
they've-
I just took the word at face value. I may have
albacore?
sounded like a fucking idiot there. Let's see.
No,
What?
imitation crab's fish of some kind, for sure.
Oh my god, what is
You're-
imitation?
This is the greatest day ever. Maddie's fucking allergic
I
to
thought it
tuna or
was-
something. He's like, I'll get some imitation crab.
Yeah,
It's like,
what
uh-oh.
is imitation crab meat made of? Business Insider, the perfect place to go to. That stuff in your store-bought California roll might look like crab, but it's probably an imposter called imitation crab. It's a less expensive version of the real thing, but when it comes to nutrition, there's no competition. Real crab is what you want. Oh, no, that's not good.
Well, that was a terrible explanation.
Yeah, what
It was the
is
worst
this?
website ever.
Listen, here's the thing.
The main
Crab.
ingredient is fish paste called surimi. Surimi is often made from pollock fish with fillers and
Yep.
flavoring like starch, sugar, egg whites, and crab.
My dad
flavor.
owned a fish plant. We used to make it.
Maddie's like, oh, Five Guys is going to kill you, but I'm going to eat this weird crab paste.
Right.
And
That
it's
crab
I'm
paste.
fine. Fuck you, Maddie.
Hold
Get
on,
out of here.
hold on,
Get
hold-
out of here.
Hold on. What's it made? I want a more detailed description than Business Insider's take on Healthline.com.
Yeah,
Let's-
who's Business Insider to say
Yeah.
about imitation crab
I need to
meat?
defend myself. All right. Here's a little more detailed write-up. Imitation crab is made from surimi, fish flesh that has been deboned, washed to remove fat and unwanted bits, then minced into paste. This paste is blended with other ingredients before being heated and pressed into shapes that mimic crab meat. Fuck,
Yep.
dude.
And they're dyed red, so they have that little red that the crab meat has when you break a crab leg.
While
Guys, I gotta-
imitation crab is made from seafood, it generally contains no crab other than a tiny amount of crab extract that is sometimes added for flavoring. So
what the fuck is crab extract? Is this like
Yeah.
a witch
You know what
that's
it is?
like, yeah, boils
You guys
down
ever,
some crabs?
you guys ever eaten a crab? You ever eaten a crab?
Oh, of course. It's the
When you-
biggest fight of your life, man. You got to fucking
Okay.
wrestle with your food. That
When
shit
you break
sucks.
open a crab, do you know what the yellow gunk is? Crab extract.
Where do you?
That's what you're eating. When you open
Crab
it up,
semen.
there's basically a lube. It's a yellowish
Oh,
gunk
crab
that you
lube.
see on the underside of the. Yep. Dude, trust me, I was there
you're
when
saying
this
I
stuff
ate
was
crab
made. Like
lube.
my dad owned a fish plant. Like you just ate crab lube.
Dude.
I'm just saying. You're
I
fine,
ate 12
probably fine. You
pieces
may
of-
die, but you
Wait,
ate
is
crab.
it-
You ate crab spooge. We're just gonna get it worse and worse until finally.
crab splooge. Whoa.
I ate
Guys,
12 pieces of crab splooge.
Sometimes it happens. Dude,
Fuck.
here's the thing. I got a hot take about crab, okay? Because I find it, first of all, I'm not into it. Here's the thing. People, when I see people and they eat crab or lobster or whatever, all it is a vehicle for Americans to eat butter. Do you know how much fucking butter is going on? Dude, it's
Oysters the same way.
Just drink the fucking butter. Okay.
Yeah.
Just drink the fucking butter.
I can feel the comments right now.
You ever seen anybody eat an oyster?
Crab.
You ever seen anybody eat an oyster? A lot of times, some people just do that, but a lot of times people will butter them to the point to where it's not even oyster. It's just butter and sand, because half the time oysters still got sand in them, even if you take care of them. It's just nasty. Seafood's gross. And you're eating lice of the sea, the pubic lice of the sea. That's what crab is.
We got to stop eating seafood because we barely even know anything about the ocean. We got to stop fucking with the ocean. Leave it
alone. Exactly.
Leave the ocean alone. Enough, And that's the thing. People are out here eating squid and octopus. Those fuckers are smart. You know how they get out of the
seafood. It's like
I've seen it with the opening bottles and shit to get out. Yeah, it's crazy.
These fuckers are gonna fight back, and then they're gonna. They'll
remember. Cthulhu's real. You can't tell me that it's not some mammalian memory that we have where Cthulhu came out of the water and fucking gutted a couple mammals that were our DNA ancestors. It's gonna happen. It'll be that time where we're all sitting back, and then CNN will be like, "Breaking news! Fucking Cthulhu!" All the squids just walking up the edge of the
Anderson
beach.
Cooper. It's like, well, fucking Cthulhu.
Yeah, standing out on the beach as one latches onto his face.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, what happened? These guys.
I mean, I guess it's technically...
This is what mine was like.
I guess it's in sync with Deathloop because it's set on the Black Reef, which is kind of like a set of islands, so seafood
That was a weak connector, man.
I was a weak connector, high effort, though, because I Googled the setting for Deathloop. It says the game setting of Black Reef is based on the Faroe Islands. Fuck yeah.
I feel bad for a lot of YouTubers. I was helping a guy, and he was making a video about that game while it got delayed.
Oof.
Yeah, the scene on this game is fucking dead. It's weird, man. Like people, I was shocked to see Game Informer go, "We're doing exclusive coverage," because obviously they pay for something like that. Or maybe Bethesda would pay them. But I'm shocked at that nonetheless because the game's making zero noise. Like, it's not generating traffic anywhere. And it's interesting because it's a more fast-paced arcane-style game. And it's like, if that's not going to work, and then Prey didn't work, and Dishonored ended up falling off after the first entry, what is going to work for this team that's going to get them on the map with a really popular title? They're known in the core circle, and I think Prey got a nice little resurgence from Game Pass and the FPS boost. But man, I don't know. I'm just a little worried for Arcane. I can't help but worry because their games are not generating the heat they deserve. I'm sad about my sushi. I can't believe I didn't know that's so that's actually
Maddie, you're gonna die now.
It's real fish, but it's made out of fish paste. Deboned fish. Dude, that's gross.
You ever had Spam?
No.
Okay.
I mean, a hot dog is kind of the same thing.
I will always remember I was at a New York Rangers game, and it was one of the last times I had a hot dog. Probably the last time. I'm sitting in the stands. It's a playoff game, intermission, so we're just sitting there in our seats, and I take a bite of this hot dog. This has never, ever, ever happened with me with food in my entire life. I bite, you swallow your food, it immediately came back up. Immediately. My body said, fuck you, what is this? And kicked it up. I didn't puke it on the floor. Worst part of it was in my mouth, and I'm just like, that didn't go down. That did not fucking go down. That hot dog crawled back up my throat into my mouth.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
Was there something wrong with the hot dog, or were you just...
you mean you just ate the hot dog? Yeah, I'm not getting it. You just ate the hot dog and that happened?
I took a bite of the hot dog, chew a little bit, swallowed, and then my throat kicked it back up. I'm not even kidding. It came back up. Like,
for no reason? Like you didn't find a fingernail in it or anything?
No. It just, I think it was like very greasy or oily or heavy kind of tasting, and it just came back up, and I was sitting there with like the food I just swallowed back in my mouth, and I'm just like, dude, like, what do I do? Do I just what do I do? Like I've never
do
felt
you,
so
do you
lost.
re-swallow the food?
Yeah,
do
like,
you,
clearly
do you
my
spit
body
it
didn't
out
like
in front
that.
of
If it just-
everybody at the Rangers game? I mean,
I had a cup next to me, so I just went like, I'm gonna drink this, and then it's just shot away into.
Well,
the
my
cup.
wife, I'm not allergic to ginger, but I hate it. Like actual like vegetable ginger, that
Oh.
big shit.
Yeah.
My wife, first date, man, she made me a big dinner. She's Chinese. She made me a big dinner, and I took a bite of what I thought was a water cucumber. Is that what they're called? I think it's a water cucumber, which I really like, and it was ginger. And it was one of those things where you're like, I was just like, what do I do? She knew me. I was like, oh my God, is this ginger? She's like, yeah, why? I was like, oh, it's fun. We got McDonald's. That's how you know I'm a romantic.
McDonald's.
We got McDonald's. We left.
wrong with that. That's
It
good.
happens. It happens, man.
Oh, you were in a public restaurant. You started heaving it
No,
up,
we-
and then left and got McDonald's.
No, she made me dinner, dude. First date. She made me dinner at her
Aw.
house.
Well, you said we
yeah,
left.
She made me.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't smell it. I don't know how. Maybe ginger doesn't have smell. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like ginger
I
at
got
all.
some right
It's got
here.
a weird.
Hold on. I'll let
Do you?
know.
Oh yeah, of course, because
Those are
it's
the
going to
sushi.
be with the fake
Yeah,
fake
I'll
crap.
I'll let you know. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, tell me
Dude.
if you. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it made me think of. I was trying to find the quote from. Have you seen the movie Wayne's World? It's like,
Oh yeah.
if you spew and she bolts, and it was never meant to be.
Yeah, it was never meant to be.
I don't-
Yeah.
What
Does
the?
it have? It's ginger, but it looks like a slab
Oh.
of it from the street side, man.
What does your ginger
Wow.
look like? I just pulled a piece
This
off.
was more of a piece inside of food. I couldn't tell you exactly.
It's not
what
a
it looked
like if you hang it out here, I'm gonna hang it like this in the car.
Hey, eat it. Eat it. Eat it.
Ew.
Eat
Yeah,
it.
I hate
eat it.
ginger.
Eat it.
I
Eat
hate
it. Tell me
ginger. Eat it
what.
on
Tell
the
me if you
show.
like it. Eat it on the show. Go eat it.
All right, I'll do it.
You're the one who pulled it out.
Don't take a fucking piece.
You
Yeah,
want me to
eat
chew
the
the
entire thing.
Now hold on.
Yeah,
This
go for
got
it.
some wasabi on it. Hold on. Need a little. There we go.
Here we
Oh,
go
cutting
with
it
the
down, cutting it
excuses.
down.
What do you think? And he ate it. Pretty okay. Yeah. Pretty. It's horseradishy, right? Oh wow. We're getting
Oh, rejected.
not for you, huh? Not for
Ugh.
you.
Maddie's
like-
dying.
It tasted like nothing, and then it just fucking
And
attacked my
then
taste buds.
It
And then
attacks you. Yeah.
Dude,
We
what
need
if
to run
Maddie just
our own food show. Anyway, sorry. What were you saying?
What if Maddie just projectile vomited on the show? That would have just been a legendary ham. It had to have been published. I mean, we could put a little disclaimer.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like weak stomach.
Yeah, we would put a disclaimer.
Oh, no,
Where
I'm
the
sure there's someone
censored
who's,
bar
like,
is over the puke.
I'm sure there's someone who's just like attacking their keyboard because they heard a little from my mouth of it as I chewed
Oh
away.
God, right?
Yeah. You're like, I
Man,
hate that.
dude, do not eat on Mike. Man, that is.
I
that is a
used to
faux pas, right?
back in the old days on my old channels. I remember one time I did a commentary over Call of Duty and I had pizza and I was literally talking going, oh, yeah, so I was chewing, I was eating the whole way through it, bro. I was like, yeah, pizza's really good. I'm not even kidding, man. I remember I was playing Black Ops S&D. I was just like, yep, this is what I'm gonna do.
Did people shit?
I don't know. This was like back when YouTube. What did they have before the like and dislike? They had 5 stars. So I don't even remember.
Wow,
When,
that's old.
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
remember when it
old.
was.
Yeah.
Dude, that was Call of Duty. That was like my second or first YouTube channel. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I was just
Back
just
then,
freaking away.
there wasn't things cultivated. It might not have been a thing.
No, they're definitely.
You know,
It's not how it is now, where people have like the nice setups and nice mics, like these mics
Right.
here. Dude, I talked into a Logitech USB mic that literally looked like a fucking stick coming out of it. It was just this skinny thing, and you just talking to it. It sounds like a trash can.
Dude, I remember the first review I ever did, which is private now. I privated all my old stuff for many reasons, but it's like I recorded it was one of the last CRT TVs. I like recorded with like a digital camera. And I'm like, hey guys, this is a review of Battlefield 1943, and it's a pretty
Oh
cool
my
game.
God.
Let's hop into a game real quick. And yeah, this is seriously like 5-10 minutes of this. I was like, wow. I mean,
Dude,
great.
I used to do skate bail videos, like
Oh.
doing crazy bails on skate, but you would see like I recorded from my TV. I remember my setup. I had you know what like snack tables are, like those foldable tables that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd have that set up in the middle of my bedroom, and I stacked books, DVDs, everything, and then my camcorder had like a thing that came out, like the preview screen, and so I'd set it up where one set of books was a little bit higher, so it would sort of stand up on its own, and then the menu preview would rest on the second set of books, almost like a T, creating like a right angle, and I'd record directly onto my TV, and that's how I always had it set up, and I'd just record skate bails, you know, and do crazy stuff, and then mash it all together with like some type of old late 2000 or early 2000s rock, and just
Hell yeah.
out it went to the internet. Wish I still had those videos. I don't know what happened to them. So yeah, Deathloop got delayed. Let's move on. Resident Evil Village showcase for April 15th, and there's even been a new demo found on the PSN store.
Continue. I'll be right back.
Dustin, it's all you, because I was hoping more people would have something to say about this, because I don't know. I'm just like, I'm looking forward to the game. I loved Resident Evil 7, but I'm looking forward to it as a survival horror game, and I feel like all the conversation is on how this woman can step on people.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with people's kinks. I want people to get that nice and early here. It's just that I want to talk about and see things that have nothing to do with the main antagonist being sexy. I want to see, you know, the survival mechanics, the world, the scares. And honestly, the more I think about it, I'm like, I'd rather just go in blind at this point. It's a survival horror game. Knowing certain things, that level of discovery is important. So, you know, that demo is going to be pretty interesting. I'm imagining it's going to drop in sync with the showcase, kind of like they did last time. But where are you at, Mr. Dustin, with your Resident Evil 8 emotions?
Yeah, over the joke for sure. Like, it's funny.
It's
I thought it was funny, but I'm over it. I mean, the joke is probably good for them. It's free marketing. Every time someone makes a meme, you know, that's why Capcom is leaning into it. That's why they addressed how tall she is. That's why they sent out those standees that have the real life height. I mean, they're like, they know, they get it. And so, I mean, hey, seize the opportunity. Good for them. I'm over it. That's fine. But yeah, I'm excited. I don't know. I probably, I mean, if there's like a new trailer, I probably will not watch it. And if there's a new demo, I don't even know if I'll play it because it's so soon. I know I'm going to play it. I don't need to be convinced on a demo. I'm just going to buy it and play it at this point because I really, really liked the last Resident Evil 6. Wait. 7.
Oh, 6. 6 was
not
the bad
6.
one,
I
Dustin.
never played 6. But yeah, Resident Evil 7 was fucking awesome. So I'm very excited for 8. And that's, I mean, that's a simple answer, but that's where I'm at.
But that's exactly where I stand too. I've been excited to play more of this. I'm a big survival horror fan.
Survival horror.
Yeah.
So it sounded like you said for a second, survival horror.
Well, because what happened was I was switching tabs on my phone, looking for the podcast questions, because I realized, oh wait, Dustin did a solo show. I meant to thank you for that at the beginning of this. So I'm gonna say it now. Thank you for doing that. But I did like 3 things at once, so I went survival horror.
Yeah. And also, hey, no, it was my pleasure to do that solo show. And thank you to the audience who had very nice things to say, which I appreciated.
Yeah, people were big on a little solo Dustin, which is good. I think that's very good that I was not unsure of your ability to perform, but I was unsure of how would people respond if on my channel you saw a video that literally was not me, even if it's the podcast. It was literally not me. So it was very nice to see that the podcast has really been established after 300 episodes almost now as something that is about the hosts, not just me. So that made me very happy to see.
Yeah, it was fun.
Karak, Resident Evil 8, a demo, any emotions? Are you experiencing anything? Horniness maybe because of the Lady Dimitrescu?
No, man, that shit's creepy. But did you guys see the awesome the awesome cosplay by the Russian basketball player? She's 7'4", and she's a cosplayer, and so she cosplayed. Even though she's 2 feet shorter supposedly than that lady, she did a great cosplay of her. It was really cool. No,
Yeah, that's all I
I'm
know.
excited. I think they're doing the thing on Thursday, right? Isn't that the
The 15th.
time frame for the
15th,
show?
yeah.
15th? What is that? Oh yeah. And the demo, so do we know that's a demo for everybody, or is that like a demo, like is that just
PSN store. So yeah, it's that's the leak, so to say.
what do you guys, so they already did one demo, right? Didn't they do a demo where you can walk around?
Yeah, it was just a walking demo for the atmosphere and stuff. I forgot it had a code name for it, but I never
I wonder what
downloaded or
this will
played
be.
it. I'm imagining this
I'm
will be a little
excited for it.
snippet, a little playable demo, like actually gunplay and all that stuff.
So do we know if this is going to be the Resident Evil 7 style of slightly westernized, which is what I liked a little bit more about
Like as in first
7,
person?
or do we know, is it going to be more of the Japanese style Resident Evil? Do we have any, has there been any inkling of sort of which Resident Evil this is going to lean towards?
That's what I was saying to Dustin is I don't
Oh, sorry.
really no, I shouldn't say that. I didn't specifically bring that up, but more so my indication was I don't know a lot about this game because a lot of the conversations about the lady. And
Yeah, right.
it's I mean, it's smart of them. They lean into that for marketing. Why talk about the game when the lady's going to sell it? Lady Dimitrescu, I think is how you say her name.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I know it's going to be first person, just like 7, so I imagine it's going to be leaning into that a little bit more. And is that what you're talking about more so? Like a third person would be more Japanese style?
Well, the original rumor, if you guys remember, was that 7 was not Resident Evil, which is
Right.
why we only, right? And I felt that, to be brutally honest, I sort of liked 7 more than the others. I was
Me
okay
too.
with the slight, okay. So what I was wondering is this leaning more towards the Euro American style Resident Evil with a little less of the whatever that you get with the other Resident Evils, or is it more towards the typical, you know, Japanese style? Because every mythology is slightly different depending on the nationality and stuff. And I've always felt the original Resident Evil sometimes went a little too monsterish. There was something about them that just didn't work, where I sort of like the ghostly weird old lady and the haunted house was handled even differently, I felt, in 7 than haunted house was, let's say, in 2.
Yeah, because the thing is that was really
1.
neat about 7 was the very self-contained feeling of it all, right?
Yeah.
You're in a house and a couple of side areas surrounding this house. And
Right.
so,
And then it only Resident Evil later, right? Isn't that what
Yeah.
you felt? Is it only
like
actually
once
hit
you get to
Resident
the
Evil?
boat, it feels like Resident Evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when you're way away from the house. I wonder if because I think it takes place in like a castle town, I feel like that's more in line with a kind of like Resident Evil 2 remake where you were in like, I think it was a police station that was formerly an art museum, sort of that artistic sort of feeling that because if it's like more medieval, I'd imagine, like, let's say it is a castle town, I imagine it'd be medieval inspired in some way, shape, or form, more puzzles, more crafty hidden pathways. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to, I'm poorly explaining it, but what I think it's going to be more in line with traditional stuff, probably because it was concepted as a Resident Evil game. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's going to be the difference. It's going to feel more Resident Evil-y because it was probably from the start a Resident Evil game. Unlike
I wish
7.
I could forget few games, and Resident Evil and Alan Wake are 2 of them.
7 was good,
And
man. I played that 3
I apologize.
times.
And play them again is what I mean.
Right.
Dude, Xbox, make FPS boost work on Alan Wake.
Yeah. Yeah, no
I mean, I
shit,
know it's
right?
on PC, but it would just be so convenient to just,
Yeah.
you know.
I'd like that.
Make Alan Wake. What would it be? 2.
2?
Yeah, because there's
Apparently
the
it's
2
happening,
the
but
2 DLC.
Is it worth
Yeah.
playing American Nightmare? Is that a good game?
I think so. I don't even know that conversation, Dustin, because it's brought up to me all the time as an Alan Wake fan. Like, I played it and was like, yeah, it's Alan Wake. I mean, it may not be as strong as the main game, but I for sure felt it was worth playing.
I never played it. I don't even know anything about it. I just played the
It's
OG.
a full, that's one nice thing about the DLC is it's sizable. It is not like, it's more like it's more like a 3/4 game instead of, you know, sometimes DLC feels like a quarter of something. This feels a little bit more towards the 3/4 of something.
back in the good old days.
Yeah, for sure. The Shivering Isles days.
All right. With that, let's move into our patron questions. So I had to do a little organizing here because I realized when Dustin did all of the questions for himself, that I had to find when his show stopped and then when ours would begin, which would be on April 5th. So we begin with King Karak. And by the way, if I read any of these and they sound familiar, Dustin, just stop me. But I think this should be good. Hey, good evening, guys. A small greeting from me. I'm a new patron, though I have been watching the podcast for about a year now. I know that y'all, especially Maddie, have talked extensively about the problems with choice and consequence in the RPG genre, so I was wondering what kind of choice and consequence scenarios or types of choice and consequence you guys would like to see in, let's say, the next Dragon Age, Mass Effect, and Elder Scrolls games. Oh yeah, hope you have a dreadfully dull day full of nothing remotely interesting. So I think we should broaden this a little bit because I know that's a more Maddie skewed question. And also because I don't know if we can talk hypothetically on potential choice and consequence with something we don't know much about. So first of all, I would say with this line of questioning is what is the type of choice and consequence scenario that would spark you? Is it a moral dilemma where you're in the gray no matter what you do? You're not going to win? Is it about the power, the reputation meters that some games boast, kind of like a Vampire where you have the district meters, or a Fallout New Vegas where you have reputation per factions? What kind of choice and consequence excites you when you have that power to be like, all right, I'm going to do a thing and there's going to be a reaction to it?
I need it to shut off part of the game. As in, I want it so that it locks off a part of the game if I do something.
I'm the same.
If I choose to be... If I choose to be a bad guy, I'm going to be a fucking bad guy. And I don't want any of this pussified, we can have it both ways type of thing. I want it where it's like, no, you lost. Jade Empire did a great job if you flood the village and kill the children, which, by the way, I did all the time because that's the way you should do it as a bad guy. Then you can't go in there. You can't do some of the quests. I think that's good. Fallout Vegas did that. I think 4 didn't do it as much.
4 didn't do it as much, no.
I also believe that Prey is probably one of the best physical reminders of gameplay changing if you make a choice, and I would like to see more of that. Mm-hmm. I think Prey at the end, depending on how you played and I played, we had different experiences because we chose slightly different, do you embrace the Typhon or is it Typhon and robot, or is it Typhon and just human side?
I think it's like Typhon and human, like just your abilities.
But dude, I embraced the Typhon, and now my good guy shit I set up hated me. And I was like, that is incredible. Like, that is awesome. The stuff I did and the plans I made are now actively against me. So those are the two things I'd want.
Dustin, what about you? You're thinking very hard on this.
I'm trying to find the question so I can read it again.
I thought he froze. He was still. He's like,
I can't even comprehend the question because
April 5th, 21, King Karak.
I'm way on the wrong section here. Okay, wait, April. Oh, okay. Choice and consequence.
I don't have much more to add because I'm very much in line with how Karak views it. The removal of something, the losing of something. Don't, like, I always tell developers in videos, like, don't be afraid to have me miss something, because that's when there's an actual consequence, because you have missed a thing.
Yeah.
Disco Elysium, by the way, did that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I believe that. I'm excited to play that soon.
Right. Yeah, well, that makes sense to me. What kind of choice and consequence scenarios would you guys like to see? Yeah. I'm gonna say I agree with you guys on that.
That's fair. It's pretty hard to go against that answer, I think.
Yeah.
I want less. I want more open. I want more verbal acknowledgments and less game changing. Kirk Chad Narokami's our next write-in. Howdy, lads. I'm back from some time away due to financial troubles, but I'm in good footing now, and I'm glad to be supporting the show again. Welcome, Kirk. Thank you so much. Question 1. After the PSN Store news, I went ahead and got myself a Vita. I'm playing through Persona 3 Portable as I adore the series, but I haven't played as FemC yet. Also playing Golden Abyss as a diehard Uncharted fan too. Now, which other games would you recommend for Vita? I played Persona 4 Golden last year on Steam and plan to play on Vita. I'm planning on playing the Danganronpa series too. I've been looking for some JRPGs that may have went under the radar or just great Vita games in general. I'm thinking about the East games that are available on Vita. Do you have any, or do any of you top blokes have any experience with this series? If so, are they worth playing, or should I plump them for PS5 instead? What say you guys? I only listed a few games that I have / want to play, as I'm not sure on the console catalog yet. And then 2, Dustin did a great job on the solo show. Can we just boot Karak and Maddie out the show? Thanks. Sorry if this was too paragraphy. No, it's okay, Karak. Or Karak. Kirk. I wish that was Karak. Dustin, you fired up your Vita just for Kirk.
I'm firing it up to remember, because I have all my list of games here of games that I loved on Vita. Some of these are available on others, but let's see. Rogue Legacy, I spent a ton of time on Vita. Shovel Knight, I played a lot on Vita. If you like more visual novel, Danganronpa type stuff, the Zero Escape games, very good. Severed, which is also available on iPhone, but come on, don't play it on. Play it on Vita. Mm-hmm. What else we got here? Dude, Hotline Miami, of course, was a great one to play on Vita.
The first one, not the second one.
Yeah, Super Meat Boy, very good. And of course, we'll end it off with a wild card here. I mean, he already mentioned Danganronpa, so I'll leave that. But Persona dancing games, don't play them on PS4. Play them on Vita.
Yeah. Just know that you can't physically buy 5 or 3 dancing. You can only download them digitally.
Yeah.
Which sucks. I wish that would get a limited run, but maybe one day. About the East series, I played Memories of Celceta. That was pretty good. Nice action beat 'em up. I know that series has only gotten better and been reviewing better each time. Like Monstra Nox, I think it's called, the newest one, reviewed really well. I think that's only on PS4. And then what is it? Lacrimosa of Dana, the 8th East game, did really well too, and that's on Vita, so you can try that out. I have that, but it's still sealed. Freedom Wars is one I'd throw out there. Monster Hunter style game where you're killing monsters and whittling away your prison sentence, which I thought was pretty cool. So you start off with this huge number, and as you complete more missions, your sentence goes down. Gundam Breaker 3, pretty cool game. Mechs, beat 'em up, Musou style combat, not the best frame rate. And I'm trying to think if there's anything Dustin didn't mention that was pretty good there. That's all I've got, and I think you've got some of the major heavy hitters for the Vita right now. And if you want to tap in again later on, we'll organize another list. But right now, with all of those combined, you should have plenty to go play. RS Handle is up next, or R Shandle, not sure. You can clarify. Which May game release are you most hyped about, and why? I've pre-ordered Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Biomutant, and Deathloop before realizing they all came out within a few weeks of each other. Well, now you know what happened to Deathloop. Not anymore. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to Mass Effect, but I think I'm most hyped by Deathloop and the logic puzzle concept of having to study the target movements and activities throughout the day. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. Just I like how we in the middle we're like, oh, he's gonna have to wait, and then he's like, oh, this is one I'm also most hyped for. It's like, well, that fucking sucks. What about you fellas? We could throw Resident Evil in there as well. That's coming out in May. And sub out Deathloop. What of those 3, or if any, are you most looking forward to? Or is there something that I'm forgetting to mention here in May?
Resident Evil, then.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. For May, it's Resident Evil. But it's hard because directly before, like at the end of April... Actually, wait. Holy shit. Nier Replicant is way sooner than I remembered. That's like not that.
It's like
that's
15 days.
Not next weekend, but the weekend after on a Friday.
That'd be amazing.
That's the game I'm most excited for currently. But yeah, for May, we'll go with Resident Evil.
I'm going with Mass Effect for obvious reasons. Like that game looks amazing. I cannot wait to play that shit. I'm so excited to go back. I would pick honestly Biomutant though. If I wanted to wipe away like, hey, I've experienced this before, I would pick Biomutant. Not even out of excitement, just that's a really new idea. Like open world, kung fu, post-apocalyptic, animals, mutations. It sounds really different. It could turn into a complete train wreck. That's kind of what's interesting about it all. But yeah, for me, Mass Effect Legendary Edition for reasons I don't think I even need to explain.
Dude, I played Biomutant at PAX in 2020, and it was fun.
Really? Okay, that's encouraging.
I don't know if it's going to be great, but I had a very fun time playing it.
This just in, Dustin says it's great for sure.
Yes, 10 out of 10. Buy it.
Yeah,
Pre-order now.
Right.
All right, let's keep moving on. Sir Kaz, hey again, ham lads. I want to know for each of you, who would be the personality or executive in the industry you'd like to interview most? Perhaps someone you haven't interacted with personally before. As always, hope you all have a below average day. Thank you, Sir Kaz. I'm loving this Duke crossover. Appreciate those of you who listen to both. Who do you want to talk to? Who do you want to have a nice long conversation with and get that information and that talk out on air to the wider public? Shall I go first?
Go for it.
Oh, yeah, go ahead if you've got one, because I don't really have one.
I go back and forth, but I think I would still settle on Todd Howard, of course. Because we've talked about doing that in the past, so it's kind of like one of those things where I believe that'll eventually happen. I don't know to what extent, but he's an easy interview. He's easy to talk to, so it would be an easy interview. Where someone like Phil Spencer, as much as I'd like to talk to him, a lot of what he says sometimes like drips in a blending of like not transparency, but he gets it, but he's still going to talk to you in a corporate manner. Kind of like you're the nerd hitting on the very hot chick, right? I think there's a little Karakism here. You know, she's being nice to you and kind of putting you away, talking to you in a particular manner, but she's not being like an ass about it. Kind of reminds me a little bit of that relationship where I would like to talk to Phil about things happening with Xbox, but for me, I think Todd Howard would be the one I'd like to talk to, especially because he's really open. It's that's the thing. I don't like to get the PR bullshit when you answer someone. I want give me the sauce, right? Juice my channel up a little bit. Give me the info.
Juice my channel up.
My channel up.
Wow.
Is that
It sounds
dude,
just
you make
so
STD
sexual.
jokes.
We need to make that a like instead of stay sexy, juice my channel.
Stay sexy, dirty. Juice my channel.
It's so dirty sounding. It's by itself. It is just wrong. I don't really have one. I mean, any of those guys, would be fun to talk to. Todd Howard would be a blast to talk to, but I don't really have one specifically.
I don't have an interest in interviewing anybody because I don't think that that's a strength of mine. But so let's just, I'm converting the question slightly. If I could just talk to any industry personality or executive, I mean, the one that comes to mind for me the most, one of the most intriguing is Ken Levine for me.
That's strange because when you changed the answer, that was my answer, was Ken Levine.
Yeah. Like, I just know that, he has a really interesting story about how he got into the industry, and he's obviously very thoughtful on multiple levels, whether it's from game design perspective, but I think most importantly from a narrative and story perspective, and how he is able to weave ideology into a game in very unique ways. And then, obviously, the dude hasn't released a game since
exactly
20 what? 13?
13, yeah, with Infinite.
Yeah. So what's going on? What's happening? This game that's coming out is either going to be the greatest game of all time, or it's just going to be a dud that got restarted a million times. I don't know, but anytime I've heard that guy talk, I've really tuned in to the point. Okay, I don't want this to sound creepy. Maybe it will. Ken Levine is on Clubhouse, which is that app that you can join rooms and hear people talk. And every once in a while, because I follow him on Clubhouse, he'll pop into rooms and talk to people about game design stuff. And I'm always trying to pop in so I can hear Ken Levine, just because I think what he has to say is so interesting.
Interesting.
How do you know? I don't. So I have Clubhouse, and at some point I'll get into it. But so what happens? You get informed that a person you follow has gone into a room. Is that how you know that it can?
Right. Yeah. So, and basically, I mean, sometimes, I mean, usually they'll only alert you if that person is speaking in a room, because joining a room doesn't mean you have the privilege to speak. You have to be brought on stage. So I believe that it alerts me when Ken Levine is being brought onto, having the ability to speak. But Clubhouse is odd. Maddie, you're not on Clubhouse at all, are you?
I've never even heard of it.
Oh, well, I can send you an invite if you want. It's
I need less social platforms in my life, to tell you the truth. So
yeah. Well,
I've thought about shutting down my Instagram, my Snapchat. I'm just like, I don't even fucking use these. Like,
it's kind of
Clubhouse sort of became a thing and then just disappeared out of the blue. I don't know why. Maybe it's cool, but I don't know. It just, I got it as well, and then I went in like one time, and I think it's just one more social media. Yeah, but a better one. Don't get me wrong. I actually think it's got some awesome stuff that it can do.
Dude, something kind of related to Clubhouse, not to derail us completely, but I just got access to Twitter Spaces, which is which is like Clubhouse sort of, but like I just was like fucking around on my phone, like, okay, we'll try this. And it ended up becoming like a Q&A, like a Last Stand Media Q&A session, where it's like basically people could raise their hand, we could bring them up, then we could talk to them for 2 to 3 minutes and then bring on the next person. So maybe we'll have to do a Ham Radio Twitter space at some point.
I think the reason that I had an issue, and this would be cool to hear your thoughts on Clubhouse, but the reason I was having an issue is I utilize Discord for all this. And it's packed into Patron. And so I was like, I have difficulty knowing where I should do something sometimes, if that makes sense. So I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And then I'll be all, well, fuck, I got 10 social media apps. So which one of the social media apps should I do this video or this Q&A? So what do you think? What have you felt that Clubhouse, because this is actually important to me. I want to know like what people are getting out of it. Do you feel that you get something out of it that you think it's worth like investigating, or is it more like if you don't use Discord, or is it in addendum too, or like?
Here's my impression of, okay, if let's take the 3 public speaking aspects of these 3 platforms, right? Clubhouse right now, because it's invite only, which it's not even that exclusive. It used to be much more exclusive, but now everyone has invites and it's like really rolling out. Right. Clubhouse is for industry talk. And usually you can do whatever you want. You can join any kind of room you want, but like a lot of the rooms that I went into, which I never really spoke on TikTok, also because I often felt like I probably would not be welcome to talk with some of these individuals. It's a lot of like, you'll see like, oh, this person works in engineering at PlayStation, and this person writes for this site, and this person, it's like a weird mix of people. It feels very like, at least when I've been on there, it's very industry and networking focused.
Okay.
Twitter feels like a public event where it's like anyone can come and listen, and we can make it more fan focused. And Discord then would be the cut down version if you have a paid Discord, and even if it's not paid, that's like another level of barrier that someone would have to be that interested in your content to not just follow you on Twitter, but to join and be a part of your Discord. So hopefully that answers your question.
All right.
Interesting stuff, though. Brave new world of social media once again.
Indeed. Karak, this one's for you. Brody asks, how are the puppers?
They're doing good. They somehow, I guess we have dinosaur toys, and I don't know where they came from. I've never bought them, but they chewed through a bunch of dinosaur toys when I just left. I heard them going. They got a bag of dinosaur toys, but no, they're doing good. Tough. It's actually made me tired, dude. Like, puppies are tiring, man. When you got 2 of them and they're running around at full speed. They found a fucking squirrel, and it was like the best thing ever. Like, they were like, dude, this is the best day of our lives. Which, it's a short life right now. It's only a couple months, so it probably is the best day of our life. But yeah, tiring as fuck, man. They're just running around all the time. I love having them, but sometimes I wish I could.
They look to make trouble. That's their goal.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Dude, Revan
yeah,
took
at all
my
times.
protein bar out of my bag. Thank God it was packaged. But like I come out, like I think I was going to the bathroom before I left to come here, and I just hear like,
Yeah.
and I'm just
the
like,
cellophane wrap. Yeah, you know,
you're just like
you're in bad
immediately
shape.
you're like, oh no, like what did he get? You know, that's like that sounds like garbage. So I sprint out and I see, fortunately, my protein bar is still in its wrap and stuff, but he's like, feed on it. He's like nosing around, trying to bite through it. And I'm like, get off that. And he's just like, oh shit. And,
Yeah, because no human, unless they're an animal, fucking rips into a bar without unwrapping it. So you know instantly it's your dog. You know, you're like, oh, here we go. How old's Revan?
2 years now.
Gotcha. Yeah, these guys are like.
He's a Days Gone
4
dog.
months.
We got him when Days Gone came out.
Oh, you got the exact time.
Yeah. Both failures. I'm just kidding.
Wow. But thank you for asking, whoever that was. Thank you.
Shogun Flames up next. Cheers, you beautiful bastards. Hope your weekend is full of stomping on Legos and hangnails. Just got to say before the question, I've been loving the Lone shows. I've been listening to the podcast for 6 years now, and I still love every moment of it. Thank you. That's very nice of you to say, because we worry sometimes that as we like switch out our hosts, and some of us are missing that, like some people are enjoying it less, but we just thank you all for sticking with us as we get our schedules in sync. Anyway, on to the question. What is a fear that you have that just doesn't make sense to you? For example, I have a fear of deep, deep ocean, but I have been swimming with sharks and deep sea diving. And yet, if I look down into the open ocean, I crap myself. I just find it weird that is a fear of mine. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Would you kindly save your farts in a jar? Whatever that fucking means. All right, so.
You don't know what that means?
Irrational.
That's from our discussion.
The farts
I think
in
saving
a jar?
farts. Yeah, because remember I said you're some jackass who's saving your masturbation and farts in a jar in your fridge like some kind of serial
That's the
killer.
thing. You say you have like a legendary statement every 30 minutes, I'd say, of an insult. So,
maybe not every 30 minutes. That's awesome.
It's
just
just
a
a
random
really-
statement generator.
It's just it's like literally you could make a Karak quote tier list, and it would be like, man, where do I put this one? So I feel like sometimes I hear it and I don't. Our audience, because they hear from you once a week, I hear from you a lot. So for me, it's like I'm accustomed to your style of speaking. So when you say farts in a jar, I'm like, yeah, makes sense. I didn't even remember that.
You're like, it's like when somebody's talking too much. You're just like, yeah, so whatever you said, that's good.
No, not even that. No, I listen. Just that doesn't stick with me as hard as it did probably 4 years ago now.
That is true. That is true.
Just like me being hyped about something. You're like, yep, there he is.
Yeah.
There's
when
the
you're like,
child
here we go.
again.
When he's fucking talking about Starfield for the 8,000th time. I'm just like, or what was that one day where even Dustin and I were both like, what is he talking about? It was KOTOR remake, right?
Oh,
and we were like, dude, it's already been remade. What are you fucking talking about? And you're like, no. Remake. In fact, you should be
remaster.
behind.
Yeah.
You should be behind the new game that Sony's doing then, technically.
Yeah, the
Dude.
remaster.
I'm just joking.
Still,
No,
it
you're
was
not wrong. There's a good hypocrisy to point out.
I liked this was maybe like a month or two ago where Maddie like had this long explanation of a news thing, and he's like, I have to go to the bathroom. I'll let you guys talk about this. Karak's like, do you want to talk about this? No.
Yeah. You
And
mean
then
you and I?
What do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
That was amazing.
I just cluelessly walk away, like everything's fine. The show's handled. It's just falling apart for the seams.
Oh, it was handled all right. It was handled with dexterity, man. We were on it. What was even the question? This poor guy who wrote in a question, and we just went on.
What's a fear you have that doesn't make sense to you?
Oh, a fear.
Irrational fear.
Yes.
He's got underwater darkophobia, right? Whatever the term is, where he says
ocean,
like
he's been
super
deep
dark
sea
open.
diving.
Yeah, that's a real one, man. That's like
Thalassophobia. That's what it's called.
Oh, is that okay? Good. I have not a fear, but a very disturbed. I get very uncomfortable around the underside of mushrooms or anything finned or gilled.
Oh.
And there's a term for it. And anything with tons of holes, which is another term for it, like a sponge.
Trypophobia.
Trypophobia, yeah.
How the
And
fuck do
it's
you know all these
mine.
phobias?
Mine is luckily pretty sub. Like I can get by without it, but like when I look at the underside, or even strangely enough, a rotor on a jet, tons of fins, it feels unstructured. It feels unstructured or unsupportive. Like you could break through it. And I want to. It's strangely enough, I always want to like break it. It's like and I was told that's what that is. That's like the main one for me.
I know we brought this up earlier, but for me, probably weird deep sea creatures. And also, guys, I know I was joking earlier, but legitimately, I find squid and octopus really creepy. But they're on a weird line where I kind of find them interesting at the same time. But I would never in a million fucking years eat one. Do you know, like with you know, people have the fried squid and stuff like that, and there's like you can see the little you know, suction cups and stuff. Fuck no. Like I could never ever be able to do that. So I find them very strange, very creepy.
See, I feel like my fears are rational, like fear of heights. I can narrow in on a particular point. I get ridiculously anxious like clockwork. When I'm on a plane, there's the takeoff, I'm good. I'm fine. I used to get a little nervous. I'm good now. It's when you are getting ready to land, I become the most impatient, irritable motherfucker of all time. Like I just need to have wheels on the ground. So I think part of it's because when this first happened, you know how they in the planes they have the screens in the back of the seats with a map and you can see where your plane is?
Yeah.
So we were going to land in New York and we flew like way past it out into the ocean to then turn around to then go land.
Right.
But I remember watching that and being like, well, where are we going? And because a plane needs time to, you know, coordinate, get on the right path, and they're being directed, and so it takes time. It's not like a car you just, you know, do a 3-point turn, that's it. It takes time with the plane. So I'm just sitting there with this different mindset, like, what the fuck's going on? Why are we okay, we're still out in the ocean. We're out here for a while, and like it's just this build up. And so now whenever I see the planes getting ready to land, you know, you check the time to arrival, it's 30 minutes, and I go back to my Vita, play for a minute, 31 minutes. All right. 30. Why the fuck haven't we landed yet? What the fuck's going on? Like, just land the plane, right? Like, something happens to me, man. Something happens to me on that last point of the plane ride. So I don't know. That's
you
not
guys
really
fly
a fear,
a lot?
but I did for.
You both?
I wouldn't say a lot because there are people I know who are like wheels up every fucking week and they're somewhere across the country. But for my standards, you know, a couple times a year.
Same.
So tell me if this
times.
is fucking normal, because I don't think it is. Cadiz says it's happened to him a couple times, but I went to see Baldur's Gate, and in the middle of the flight, you got the little TV, right? And it's been a while since I flew, and we're flying. Fucking TVs are on. I'm watching NBA. Everything goes dark. Entire cabin, jet black. Boom, no power, nothing. Fucking LCDs off. So I'm like, that's it. We're dead. Like for sure. Nothing loses power in the air. Fucking dead. Then pops back on. Now, Cadiz told there's about 3 seconds of like, fuck, you know. And then Cadiz said it's when they're changing the power, the generator to batteries and stuff. Some planes do that totally off. Is that something you guys have ever experienced? Because I got to tell you, I was fine for everything else. The kick in the pants when you take off is a little crazy. And our pilot did the old, hey, let's fucking see if the moon is something we can get to real quick. And it was like,
yeah,
out straight up. But, and I'm not lying, because we're out of a small town, so they have to make sure they're in the, you know, they're like, let's fucking Tom Cruise this.
Yeah.
Does that power, I'm not lying, man. It was, I almost shit. Was that power thing? Oh, dude, it did. You guys have been on those, right? Where occasionally, like sometimes you'll get that where they need to take off quick. But does the power, has that happened to you guys?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Wow.
That's
it's just like all the lights will go off.
Sign, bro.
And then go back on.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had that happen.
Dude, I'm sorry, but as somebody who doesn't fly that often, and when I used to fly, that never happened. I need a sign that says, listen, bitch, occasionally everything is going to go black and you're not dying. Because I got to tell you, when the NBA guy's like, going up 3 or 3.
Just dead quiet after that.
Pointer. And you're like, yeah. It was the longest 3 seconds I've ever had, man. I was just like, yeah. The shit is going on. So, okay, well, I'm glad it's normal, so I'll expect it. like next time, but
well, who knows if that next time it just stays dark.
That's what I was going to tell you, by the way. I was going to screw with you and be like, the reason why you have this nervousness about landing is you're going to crater next time. But I was nice. But you just threw me to the wolves right there, so fuck you. Don't get in a plane. Now, neither one of us. Oh, God, this will be one of those things people show years later. It'll be like Matty, fucking tombstone. It'll be like, remember when he joked that one time?
Dude, I mean, look, it's not like I look forward to getting on planes. I remember, like, first time I was going to E3 was my first plane flight, E3 2016. And I remember, like, Googling, like, how safe are planes? You know, they were like, oh, safer than cars. You know, it's okay. I'm just like, then we start taking off. It's
cars
like,
can pull over,
it's like,
Matty.
holy shit, dude. Like, hold on. This is not safe. This thing's about to explode.
Right.
And then when you hit the ground, you get these fucking, like, Need for Speed motherfucking pilots that are just like, they hit the ground, they're like, boom, boom. Like, they just fucking kill it.
Ours was bad enough that the actual people in the plane screamed. Cadiz is like, that's the worst landing I've ever had, which I don't need to hear while we're flying. So we fly. She hits it, just the bang. You know, where you get the as everything goes off. And I'm like, what the? And I hear people go like, and I'm all, Jesus, man. And that, by the way, that was going away. I still had to fly back, which was like,
and then you're like, well, at least I'm on the ground and I'm alive, but I have this to go through again. And maybe that might be the time I don't get so lucky.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who has those weird experiences then.
Of course. Steve Wolf's up next. I remember this right in. Hey guys, I'm at the point where I'm ready to trade in my Switch. I've touched it maybe once in the past 6 months. Sorry, I thought this was the write-in from earlier about the Mortal Kombat girl. I read that and I was just like, I remember that write-in. I feel like there is very little I am enjoying that comes out of the system. The last big game that I really liked was Fire Emblem, and to be honest, looking at upcoming games this year on Switch, I see stuff like Pokemon Snap that looks like it was made in 1995 and can't help but wonder why I'm holding on to this system. And yeah, I'm sure Breath of the Wild 2 will eventually come out, but unpopular opinion here, I felt like the first one was incredibly boring and an empty Skyrim simulator. So here's my question. Is there a good reason, like a really good upcoming Weeb game, for me to hold on to this system, or should I trade it in with the assumption that a Switch Pro will probably come out soon anyhow? I don't get this. My buddy traded in his fucking Switch. He's like, I'm going to get the Switch Pro. I'm like, why don't you hold on to your Switch, play it, and if you end up liking it, then maybe upgrade to the Switch Pro. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know Steve's finances, right? We don't know his situation.
Yeah, right.
But I'm always a believer, hold on to your consoles. Do not get rid of them. Do not.
I have nothing to add. I'm 100% agreement. If you can't, I mean, if you got to feed your family or something, or, you know, it's just like, I would, even if I was in the situation where it was like, buy this game, but in order to buy these games, you have to trade this console. It's not worth it. Like the things I've gotten rid of or traded in, I've never been like, really glad I sold that. Yeah. I've never done that. Ever.
It's not even hyperbole too. I've never felt like I won based off selling something like that early.
The only time I've been happy that I sold something was something I completely did not care about. Like I had a rare Super Nintendo game, the Ninja Gaiden Collection, which is just the NES games on Super Nintendo. It's like $80. I was like, I don't want this game. I don't really care about it. I mean, nothing against Ninja Gaiden. I just didn't need that collection on Super Nintendo. But a Switch, I don't know. That seems different to me.
Yeah.
I would just hold on to it.
I agree. Anything you want to tab in with, Karak?
No, sorry. I agreed right away.
Oh, okay.
Like, I agree with that. I wouldn't sell anything for no reason.
Natural Calamity's up next with 2 questions. A genre I adore is strategy RTS games, but I'm dreadful at them. I will leave a game when I see myself losing, but I have slowly been getting better playing, increasing more with XCOM to Wasteland 3 to Desperados 3, and most recently I'm playing Empire of Sin. I'm doing pretty well with this one. One series or genre draws you in, but you are laughably bad at, but you still keep coming back for more.
Natural Calamity's trying to double dip, because I answered this question, I think, on my solo, so he must want your perspective.
Bad Natural. I'll give you a quick answer for that then. FPS shooters, because my skill has declined. So when I go back, I'm like, I used to be a whiz at these, but it's more so not that I'm really getting older. I think it's just I play them way less than I used to, so I feel the skill gap a little bit more now. but I wouldn't say I'm laughably bad yet. Give it time. I'll get there.
Yeah, I would say I don't really have one. I either play what I like and I
You're good at everything.
Try to practice at it. No, but I don't think I play the stuff I'm bad at, so I wouldn't really know anymore. I mean, we have to play everything for reviews. So I would say sports games I'm not very good at. Yeah. No, that's a good sports games, dude. I'm not great at like a football game. I can't. I'm not really good at those at all. Yeah,
that's a perfect one. Oh my
Somebody
God.
kicked my ass at I'd be doing a football game and I'd be like, it's 3rd and fucking 5, and I'm like, cool, sounds good. I'm gonna fucking air this out or what? I don't even know if that's a bad idea. I can watch football and know, but in a game, I'm not good. In the actual,
because I don't know the play calls. They're like Nickelback 535. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Nickelback,
ACD, Def Leppard number 4, and you're like, I have no clue. I'm
square
just
looks good.
Air it out.
Boom.
Yep.
Hike.
Yep.
Throw.
And have you ever got that one run that you're good at? So I'm really good at like long outside sweeps. So once I get good at one, that's like my I pick 3 moves. I'm all okay. I'm good at this pass. I know the timing for this one, and I know this sweep, and that's me.
I'm good at NHL, but I also played a disgusting amount, and I think that's the most responsive one. Where like MLB, my timing is terrible. Madden, I don't know how to read a play for my life. NBA, my timing is atrocious. Like I used to always get grilled by my friends for late shots. Like not good. Second question. I'm finishing all the Halo games. I finished 1, 2, 3, and I'm going through 4 right now, but I have to admit the campaign is a slog and is really tedious to go through. For Halo Infinite, I have a fear it'll be the same. Do you see them adding loadouts or stuff of that sort, or things to really work towards within the campaign, like maybe adding back skull collectibles? I think they're going to add just more of some kind in because it's more open. Collectibles would seem pretty sensible. And I'm not talking skulls. I'm talking audio logs of like, I'm dying, I'm going down, but here's my safe code before I go 5, 6, 2, 3. That's it.
I could absolutely save myself, but instead I'm going to record myself dying.
Yep. Fucking Ken Levine, man. Why do you have to do that, right?
Yeah, right. Ken Levine is he's one of the ones that was the grossest misuser of them.
Just the king of dying messages, huh? Other than that, I don't know if I can add more. Anyone have any other Halo Infinite stoof to add in?
I already answered this question last week.
Natural. God damn it.
He just copy and pasted both of them. So
what the fuck? That's disrespectful when you think about it, right? Dustin took his time, answered the questions, and you didn't think Dustin's answer was enough.
Oh, here we go. Now he's going to really believe that because you said that like you meant it.
I'm good at acting.
Well, you might have meant it.
I'm good at acting.
You might have meant it, but you said it pretty rough.
I did.
I like it. Natural right now is really uncomfortable. Exactly. It's like he can't quite tell if this is all a joke or not.
That kind of wry smile, like, that's funny, yeah. Right. Red Eyes White Wolf's next. Hey, y'all. It's been a while since I wrote in, but I was wondering how game collecting was going for you guys when you were young. I only had an OG Xbox until I got my 360 in 2012, and when GameStop stopped selling the games in stores, I had to rely on flea markets to find my desired games. For me, the hunt honestly was more exciting oftentimes than playing the games, and it was the most satisfying thing to find the game you were actually looking for. I looked for KOTOR 2 for years after my original broke, and it was like I found gold once I finally did. Now that I'm older and have a credit card, I can go to places like eBay and easily find what I want, but now that most of the magic is gone from doing that. Have any of you had similar experiences?
I've had experiences with that enjoyment dying. I would agree with that.
It's at times a little more heart-wrenching to collect now because there isn't that. For me, it's the making the deal. I agree. There's a bit more thrill in the hunt sometimes. Oftentimes, you'll collect a game because you like it, but you may not play it right away. I've been doing pretty good of playing things, not beating them all, but playing things I wanted to collect. But one of the things I liked most, and imagine me in PAX or something, negotiating a little deal. Like, hey, I've got some cash, all right? If I give you a card, I might be able to track that. Instead of 40, how about I give you 30 cash? And you just pocket that right now. He's like, okay, here you go. Go grab your game. It's like, excellent. Now he's happy. She's happy. I'm happy. I've got my game at a discount, and I've got it complete in box, and we all walk away nice and satisfied. A little money under the table action there. You can't do that on eBay. You can't. So you get these people who are you'll find games that are outrageously priced now because there's no in-person markets to pick them up from to kind of level the playing field. It's just all online. And so eBay prices are really volatile. Like they're just up there. I guess I should say really volatile. That's not the proper way of using the term, but they are volatile, I should say. So yeah, of course I've had this many times as I continue to expand my collection in a very expensive manner.
Nothing to add to that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've gotten good about not spending money on like there are things that I want that I know I don't really need or even really like want to have. There's just like some kind of ape part of my brain that's like, I want that. You know what I mean? So, but it's funny because I do have I'm not gonna. I'm gonna have a special reveal, but I have a few special purchases I've made coming from, another side of the planet that I'm very excited about. That I did spend a lot of money on. So I'll reveal that later.
Oh shit! All right, let's go.
Yeah.
I will say
sorry.
that. Oh, I was just gonna say I don't know about you guys, but one thing I do have to watch out for is late night. So, there's proof that at late night time frames, your willpower is a little lower, which is why a lot of people get late at night. But I have a tendency to buy shit from Amazon Prime late at night.
Yeah.
And it's been a disaster. My wife now will usually look at the boxes and go, "Did you really want it or did you not?" And I'll look through my orders, sometimes not even opening the box, and be like, I have no clue why I ordered that at 3 a.m. Like none. And a lot of times I'll get lazy and I know I bought something and I can even see I bought it on Amazon a year ago, but I can't find it. I'll be like, fuck it, buy it again.
Yeah.
So I have like 85 needle nose pliers. I'm not lying. I have so many needle nose pliers. It's a joke now. They're everywhere because Amazon's I can't find one. I'm like,
man.
It's a disaster, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you going to say, man? Dustin?
I was going to say, I don't really drink much anymore. I don't have anything against it. It just makes me feel sick. But when I was drinking more regularly, you have a couple beers with your friends, maybe you're feeling a little cozy, they, leave, you're sitting on your couch by yourself, you're browsing Amazon. The drunk purchase thing is very much a thing. But Karak, yours is just fueled by purely the drive of
kid-like desire. Yeah, I'll be up late at night, and that's how I got all my airsoft guns, which have turned out to be successful. I enjoyed those, but yeah, and I used to sometimes I'll take Ambien to sleep because I'm really high energy and I don't drink at all. So that I can't drink to go to sleep. Yeah, there'll be some purchases. For example, I have 5 still in the package SSDs, 1 terabyte SSDs, and I couldn't tell you when I got them. They're everywhere. Every system I have has an SSD. The Xbox S has an SSD external because I had so many. So yeah, that kind of stuff. Technology in particular. You see that cool tech at 3 a.m. and you're like, hey, I need another hard drive, which you don't.
I do. I actually need to buy one. Felix Check is up next. I definitely do. I've like capped out on a lot of my memory across all my shit, and I'm just like deleting, reorganizing. So yeah, I just need to invest in a couple. And I also need a standing desk attachment because I'm tired of sitting for like 8 hours a week on just podcasts.
Me too.
When things get back to normal, would you consider doing an in-person podcast, all 3 of you in the same room? That would be an experience. Well,
us?
Panel. Yeah.
Oh, sure. I thought for some reason he meant people.
Yeah.
Like your house.
PAX panel action or something like that.
Dude, that would be so fun. Which, I mean...
That's possible. Those kind of things are possible.
Yeah, which I don't know. I mean, supposedly PAX West right now has not been canceled. I've never been to PAX West, though.
Neither have I. I've only been to East.
We talking about the Seattle one?
Yeah.
Right? Dude, it's awesome. It's legit. Like, that's the only one I would ever go back to.
Dude,
I was going to say, I feel like if we were going to do it, we'd have to go to West for Karak.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get a panel at PAX West, I will, as long as I have nothing else going on, I would be willing to commit to that.
Yeah, it'd be a blast. I think you guys would like West. It's pretty legit.
I'm down. All right, cool. It's set. Mick Meister's up next. Howdy dowdy. Let's get rowdy, boys. Hope you're all doing well. I recently played Super Smash Bros. With a friend of mine, and we made it interesting by not being able to play as the same person twice while hanging out. This got me wondering, what fighting game character would you want to have the move set of, and why? It could be from any franchise, but for me, I like the idea of having Kirby's moves because he could be a jack of all trades with his inhale ability, but he also has fast hits or a heavy hammer attack if need be.
Lau from Virtua Fighter, for sure.
I'm gonna say Sheik from Legend of Zelda, but on Smash Brothers because I like it's like a death by 1,000 cuts, real quick.
The options. I'm going to say. This is tough. Trunks from Dragon Ball Fighters. Not practical, but fucking epic. Just big sword on the back, big hacks, throwing people up in the air, Buster Dome, all that shit. Amazing. All right, we got 2 more left. The Grimblade. At the beginning of the generation, it seemed like both Microsoft and Sony were doing everything right and that this would be a competitive console generation. With the news around PlayStation these past few weeks, it feels, that's italicized, like PlayStation is heading in a low or trending in that direction. At the same time, I know this isn't as bad as the early PS3 times, right? Are we lacking hindsight? Is Sony really making major missteps? So anything to add on in terms of panic? I don't think we're there yet in that level. Because right now it's not actions. This is a report. And while I think it's indicative of things, it's not like their quality's in the shitter or anything like that. You know, like didn't the PS3 launch with haze or something along those lines? So we're not talking about that.
Yeah. Right. I mean, to me, it's a situation like when you go outside and you're like, ooh, it's going to rain. Like you can feel it in the air quality. You can see it in the sky. And sometimes it doesn't rain.
Emotion I thought only I experienced. Like you're like, oh, fuck, it's going to rain.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like kind of ominous, you know? Sometimes it doesn't rain. Sometimes it blows over and, you know, the bad time, and then it's good. But
it's all sunny, yeah.
Right now, signs are pointing to that it could rain.
Honestly, I don't know if I could add anything to that. That's so perfectly put. Karak, anything you want to throw in there or not?
No, I don't think we're even close to.
Yeah.
Even close to worry.
All right, then that brings us to our last write-in from Paco Luigi. Howdy. Last minute write-in because we just took a break to stretch our legs on the road. Wow. So Paco is traveling, stopped, and actually added in a question. I love that. The home-based game has brought up this year. Yeah, he's not the one driving.
Stop! Yeah, anyway, sorry. I just got this awesome idea in my head.
I always pictured him as an adult, but it'd be funny if he was actually the kid screaming to stop. So
he's like, let me see your phone. She's like, you're not allowed to play anymore in Minecraft. I need it for the GPS.
Those guys are doing the podcast. Like, I don't give a shit. I have no clue what you're talking to.
Let's go.
I gotta go.
Actually, he's listening to this with his family right now in his car or whatever. And yeah, they're just like, what the fuck?
His family's going to get an earful through this entire podcast. That's for damn.
Yeah. All right. The question is, the home-based game has been brought up this year. What's a game each of you gents like to return to sporadically or for short intervals on? It doesn't have to be every year. Best, trucker Paco. So I'm sorry, it was not a car, it was a truck. A game that you like to return to sporadically or in short intervals, and it doesn't have to be every year. So you come back, just a game you return to. What's a game that always calls your name?
Tetris.
Secret World. Ooh, Tetris.
Wait, what was yours, Karak?
The MMO Secret World. I've returned to it. I return to it consistently.
Smite. Smite always calls me back in. I think I've kicked it now, but it took me like 9 years.
I forgot, Matty, that you're a fucking MOBA dork.
Yeah. I will own that. Yeah, I'm a MOBA dork for damn sure. I want the MOBA days to come back, man. They were great. And when I had just Paragon and League of Legends and Smite, like, dude, I was feasting. And then just suddenly they stopped. Pokemon's apparently making a MOBA, right? Like they announced that for phones and Switch. So
you're like the only person who said like we should know.
You should
making
know.
a MOBA, right?
You
and it's like,
know.
dude, wrong people to ask. Well, I don't know. Maybe wrong for me. I'm not gonna know if they're doing a MOBA.
When Maddie said that, I'm like, I feel like that's something I heard and tried to forget. You know?
Yeah, I mean, a Pokemon MOBA. Those I don't know. It just doesn't seem like I'd fit. It might though. You never know.
All right. Well, look, we'll see. We'll see if that's even a thing that happens. For now, that's all the questions and write-ins we have for this week's Ham Radio podcast. It's been a very funny episode, I must say. I've been chuckling my ass off this whole time. A great 2 hours, and 45 minutes spent. And gentlemen, any closing thoughts before we wrap this up, as Karak so often likes to do?
Maddie is just, hopefully you'll be here for the next episode after all that crab semen.
Fake crab. Yeah, that's exactly.
It'll
where
become
I
a
was going
permanent
with all this.
two-man show with the crab juice, the splooge. What did you call it?
Crab splooge, crab schmegma. It's just nasty, man. All I'm saying is there's a 80% chance you ain't making it to the next podcast. Or you're gonna be like from an intensive care ward. Your fucking IV, you'd be like, I'm still doing the podcast.
Like, didn't Sakurai do that to make Smash? He was working on the game with an IV.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
he was working on the game. Yeah, with an IV.
Oh,
That's
hashtag crab juice.
Hashtag
like
crab
it.
juice.
It's unique
works for
enough,
me.
but not if someone sees if your grandma's reading your Twitter.
Yeah,
like, oh,
right.
Crab juice.
Hmm.
Is that like, is
I
that like
some
tomato
crabs.
juice?
Let's get some crabs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fine.
sure
But
it
they
is.
know, when you write hashtag crab juice, you're talking about the crab jizz
Yeah.
that
Yep.
Maddie consumed.
Yep.
That Maddie consumed with reckless abandon. Let's just make it
Reckless
as
abandon.
bad
Yeah,
as
12
possible.
a 12 count.
Hell yeah.
Of just
A 12 count? Is that what you had? Of
Yeah. I had 12
you
pieces.
throated 12. It's just going to get worse if we continue. Trust me, I'm just going to get dirtier and
Yeah, I was
dirtier.
about
It's
to make
Friday,
a
so
crab
you might-
orgy joke, so we
no,
should
it's
stop.
it's
We gotta stop. We gotta stop now.
Thanks everybody for showing up. We love you. Crab juice.
Yep.
Hashtag crab juice.
That'll be it. Thank
Goodbye.
you all, and we'll see you
All
next
right.
week. Peace out.
Peace out.